The popular electric scooter company Lime has announced it will be implementing a no-go zone on the Rainbow Pride crosswalk in Washington State, with the CEO of Lime saying they don't want people to see Lime scooters as gayer than they already are.
The head of marketing at Lime said, listen, off the record, people already think a grown man riding around on an electric scooter is a little fruity. We don't need them being associated with actual gay stuff on top of that. If you want to frolic on a pride rainbow, be my guest, but don't bring the Lime brand into your antics. This is off the record, obviously.
He continued, when people think of Lime scooters, we want them to think of a dude who gets bitches, and there's nothing gay about showing up to a lady's house on the Lime, parking it on the road, and then explaining to her that she'll have to download the app to grab hers so you can cruise side by side down to the board game cafe. Off the record, of course.
He finished by saying, I want people to know when life gives you limes, it's pussy time. Actually, that's pretty good. Does one of you have a pen? I want to write that down.
The boys.
It's the Boyscast.
The lads.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for Boyscast.
The bros.
It's the Boyscast.
The homies.
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes.
Experience the Boyscast.
The Boyscast.
I woke up this morning to many, many messages in my inbox, on Twitter, on Instagram. Everyone wants to know what's my opinion on Joey Chestnut. There is a debacle going on in the competitive eating world. Now, some of you know that I am a competitive eating guy.
Yeah, 0-1.
Well, I'm not a participant. Okay, if I'm the biggest basketball fan, that doesn't mean I have to beat Michael Jordan.
No, I in this case, I'm Michael Jordan.
No, you're Wilt the Stilt is what you are. You just had a physical advantage. It's me playing basketball against Shaq playing hot dog eating against this cow. Listen, this guy's such a cow, I think his fucking Nate the Hoof Cleaner's about to get to him.
Give me a pedicure from Nate the Hoof Cleaner.
So, just to tell you what exactly is happening, and obviously, I just want to say before any of this, obviously, I back Joey Chestnut.
We stand with Joey.
We stand with Joey, no
For sure,
question.
no question.
So, what happened was, Nathan's hot dog eating competition is in a pickle where they are like the main they're the main event of the sport.
Yep.
But they're also a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't decide, because they said, and basically Joey Chestnut, what he did was he made a deal to represent some vegan hot dogs, impossible hot dogs.
Foods,
and then the Nathan's hot dog eating competition just said you're banned.
Yeah.
He just found out about that. They didn't even hit him up trying to give him more money for the offer or try to beat it. Now, I will say before I go in on Nathan's, it's a bit of a weird move from Joey Chestnut to try to do the impossible. There's lots of other brands he could have done. I think what Joey Chestnut likes, he likes people thinking he's nice. Like, remember there was protesters and he sort of like pushed them out of the way and everyone was like, fuck yeah. I think he really didn't like that energy of people he wants people to think he's like a family friendly guy. He thinks all the right stuff.
And
you know
again,
what I mean?
he's just going to be like, he probably got a crazy offer from Impossible Foods. And
right. There's obviously a money component of it.
that is the component here.
I don't know. I think he's getting sponsorship offers right and left.
Yeah, but I'm sure Impossible was like, hey, we're going to give you, because I think he got
the way I picture it is Joey just opens his email every morning. McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, everything, you name it.
Yeah, maybe.
And then they just kicked him out. Yes, obviously it was a money thing.
And we lost the Japanese dude this year.
Well, that's what my whole point was. This is Kobayashi all over again.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be crazy. You think he'll do the Kobayashi move and go set up like next?
No, Joey Chestnut's not like that. I'm telling you,
he
he's a
knows
family
he's the
guy.
best.
But this is what Kobayashi was. He was like the top guy at the time.
Yeah.
And they were neck and neck. And then basically Nathan's wouldn't let him do it because he didn't want to do an exclusive contract with Nathan's or something like that. And then he set up across the road and eat more hot dogs in the same time to prove that your competition's worthless because you wouldn't let me in it. Now, people make the argument that it's sort of like UFC. It's like you can't just be in two leagues. However, it's not like that. It's if UFC was like a clothing brand and you could only wear those kind of clothes and the whole thing. It's kind of like how brands make TV shows or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So they make it's weird because you're like, it's not exclusive to the league, but they have a lot of
he goes and
rules.
competes in other leagues.
He doesn't compete in other leagues. He competes in other competitions.
Oh, but that's like not so like still considered.
I mean, there isn't another league. The other thing is like you compete in this. And the
There's
next
not,
best thing is you're in the
exhibitions?
no, you're in the fucking Manitoba Crab Leg Fest. It's the fucking big drop off after Nathan's.
Yeah.
So some people say that they have a monopoly, but the monopoly pays people like $200,000 a year or whatever.
Pays him.
No, it's kind of like WNBA. It's like that's where you make all your money is doing all the sponsorships, right?
Right.
And I do see their point where they're like, well, the whole point of this is to promote Nathan's hot dogs. So you can't go promote some other hot dog eating brand if you're the top guy. However, now they're going to get worse publicity for kicking him out.
I mean, the NBA had that for a while where they're like, we have a deal with Nike, and then players would have like Adidas, and I remember it, and they would have to have like Adidas, like guys who had like Adidas shoe deals would, if they had Nike on their jersey, they would put a piece of like tape on their jersey and stuff.
Well, that's honestly kind of fair if they want to be like, hey, you can't promote your thing at the event.
Yeah.
But once the event's done, you're able to do whatever you want.
For sure, yeah.
And they say no, and they're like, we have this contract. These contracts aren't this big. They're like a couple $100 $100,000 a year. It's like this guy's probably a billionaire, I would imagine.
Oh, at least. At least. They probably just gave him half of Impossible Foods for his sponsorship.
I would imagine Joey Chestnut's a billionaire, probably. Probably top 10 richest man in the world.
Oh, yeah. In America, at least.
So I do get why they're like, hey, we don't want to see the vegan hot dog guy just coming and spanking everyone at our competition.
Sure. But again, he's still be eating the meat dogs.
That's what I'm saying. It's also more likely.
Wearing an Impossible Foods shirt.
No, I get if they're like, you can't wear the gear here.
Yeah.
That's fair. And I bet you Joey would have said fine with that. They're like, listen, you can't come to the Nathan thing and wear the gear. Fine. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying, like, you can't even do the side deal after.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
what would have happened is Joey Chestnut would have done his vegan dog deal. He would have ate a bunch of vegan dogs. He probably wouldn't have heard much about it. And it probably wouldn't have affected the Nathan brand whatsoever because the Nathan hot dog thing still would have been a big deal. Joey would have won.
I mean, if you like Nathan hot dogs, you're not going to eat Impossible vegan dogs, being like, because your favorite eater eats them. Like, it's not going to be that kind of thing.
So it's kind of like in other things we talk about, people want to talk about the morality of who's right and wrong, whether Joey's right, whether the thing right. The actual thing boils down to power games, you know what I mean? And I honestly think Nathan's is overestimating their power. The guy's won the last 16 competitions in the row. They're saying like, oh, it's like he's like the Jordan. It's like, he's not like the Jordan. He's like 20 Jordans.
Yeah.
There's no one.
He's like Tiger Woods was when Tiger Woods was like in the prime, where he was just winning every other tournament.
And no one else is even close.
It's crazy, actually, because they said that the guy who's now the top odds to win now because he's out is actually a huge favorite as well to win, which means that there's only two eaters, and he was a huge favorite over that guy. So it's like he's like way above the pack, and then the guy who's second is way above everybody else. So there's basically barely two guys.
These other guys are like you.
Yeah. I mean, no. Let's not.
I told you when I went, there is a bunch of guys that are just like straight up like bodybuilder types, or just like big fat like lumberjack types, just big ass guys that can eat a lot. But I don't think they're classically trained the way Joey is.
No.
And
it's a different skill.
It was gross to watch. There's just like guys with big beards and they just have so much fucking. It's actually pretty gross.
I mean, it was gross to do it.
Well, it's not gross to watch with him though. When you watch Joey Chestnut, you're watching an artist.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's a talented man.
So if Joey's not in it, that's the only reason everyone watches now.
Right.
And maybe they're starting to think this guy thinks he's bigger than hot dog eating. You know what I mean? And they don't like that. That's a big potential miscalculation on their part. It was a miscalculation to get rid of Kobayashi too, and I think they keep doing this, and it's not the move.
Yeah, what's their viewership like? I wonder.
Probably not that high.
Probably not that high because it's a pretty bad day for TV watching in general. Like people on July 4th, the last thing they want to do is fucking flip on the TV.
They filled out the stadium though; it was full.
Yeah, but I mean for television, not live. So I don't know.
If Nathan's, which is a big company, really wanted to make sure this doesn't happen, they could probably do a clause that is like, hey, if you get another deal, we can match it. But I get that. I don't know. They don't want to do something like that. Then you come with some. But it's only really 2 or 3 people that you're listening. We don't want. If you want do another dog, we'll give you a better deal with our dogs or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know how it'll work out, but that's unfortunate for the sport of competitive eating. They just lost. Is he not allowed to compete in any events or just the Nathans.
I think they're going to clear this up, my guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it's at right now. They tried to besmirch him, and they did a big press tour saying a rep for Major League Eating, which Nathan's sanctions to run the event, said the organizer bent over backwards. See, they're trying to say like Major League Eating and Nathan's isn't really the same thing.
Yeah.
But Nathan's is their like big competition, right?
Like, and Nathan's probably funds the entire Major League Eating operation.
Exactly.
For the most part. Yeah.
100%.
Biggest
right?
sponsor. Without them, they'd just be folding.
So they're kind of a brand and a league at the same time, which is problematic for when people aren't making a ton of money. You know what I mean?
No.
It said the organizers bent over backwards to meet Chestnut's various other demands. And it was like, you should be bending over backwards for Chestnut. He's the sport.
Yeah, he's the whole thing.
Well,
I mean, nobody can name one other guy other than Kobayashi, maybe, but like who's not even in it. But besides Joey Chestnut, nobody can name a person.
It's kind of like the people making like Fast and Furious number 12, and like every single one's made $1 billion, and they're like, we have to bend over backwards for Vin Diesel. It's like, yeah, you probably should.
Yeah, like there's no movie without him. So
unfortunately, that's the dynamic right now is Chestnut. But their thing is like, no, Major League Eating is going to be just as big without Chestnut. There's going to be a dip in viewership.
I don't think so.
They even agreed to let him participate in a rival Labor Day dog eating fest to be taped for TV as long as no hot dog brands was mentioned. Just give him two options. Be like, hey, here's the exclusive deal, it's more, and here's the non-exclusive deal, it's less.
Yeah.
If you want, and if you don't want to do the if he doesn't do the exclusive deal, then you pay him less.
Yeah, which is fine. It's like, again, it's like he's the whole operation. So,
but they said they drew the line on letting Chestnut pitch for a different hot dog brand. He is testing them a little bit because he is pushing
They probably offered him way more money than is just in competitive. Like, knowing something like Impossible, publicly traded company, like they probably gave him $5 million. And he's just like, that's what he'll probably make for the rest of his life.
That's true. They probably gave him $5 billion.
Yeah. I mean, they gave him so much money. I'm sure that they're like, it's just. But again, I'm curious what his value is as a competitive eater when he's not participating.
When he's not in MLE.
Yeah. I mean, what does he do? He's just doing like he's just doing like the seventh inning of a baseball game. Like I saw him the other day. Actually, he did one where he just ate like 20 tubs of ice cream.
You definitely don't get as much publicity at the New Orleans Oyster Fest.
No. So.
However, what you're missing is Joey Chestnut is not even the most popular competitive eater by a long shot, because the most competitive eaters are like the guys with 2 million YouTube followers.
Right.
Like the truth is, if you actually,
he's the most mainstream though.
I guess he's mainstream.
He's mainstream. Yeah, he's like mainstream.
But if you actually want to make money, you don't go be a competitive eater like that. You go and start a YouTube channel eating 40 Big Macs.
Right, yeah, and
on your
doing all the challenges at every restaurant and stuff. Yeah,
that's how you make the money. That's why a lot of those guys don't even. The truth is, a lot of those guys don't want to go in MLE because it's not even good for their brand.
Yeah,
just go get fucking destroyed by Chestnut.
That's true.
So he's the Michael Jordan of competitive eating. But imagine if Michael Jordan said to Nike, I love being the face of Nike, but I want to do commercials for Adidas too. Well, it's like, imagine Michael Jordan was making $200,000 a year.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then also
and Adidas offered him $5 million. He'd tell him.
And also imagine that like all of the other leagues, there's tons of other different NBAs, and you're not that big of a one. So it's like the truth is, you're like, oh, they're comparing him to Jordan. It's like, you're not the NBA.
No, hell no. I mean,
you have one competition on Cone the
Island. Eating.
You have one hot dog eating competition on
like
Coney
all their
Island.
other events just like stream on fucking Rumble or something. Like, it's not like.
MLE's starting to feel themselves a little too much too.
Well, they're going to be in for a rude awakening because
I would boycott
for the 20th year in a row. I will not be watching.
The truth is, I don't usually protest, and I'm
is this the thing that finally gets Ryan on the streets marching? Bring Joey Chestnut back. There'll probably be a lot of people with like the Chestnut face masks at the.
I forgot about the Chestnut face masks.
Chestnut masks.
I was gutted to learn from the media that after this is Chestnut's rebuttal, by the way. After 19 years, I'm banned from the July 4th hot dog eating competition. He wrote on social media, I love competing in the event. I love celebrating America with all my fans. And this is a great country, and I've been training to defend my title. That sucks that they kicked him out and he's been training too. To set the record straight, I do not have a contract with MLE or Nathan's, and they're looking to change the rules from the past years as it relates to other partners I can work with. So they just sort of wanted to be on the honor system.
They're just like, hey, we're fine with you getting a car dealership sponsor. We just don't want any sponsors that are competitive with us, essentially.
And I agree, it is a bit weird, but you're probably right. They had offered him $10 trillion.
Yeah, so much money. Yeah, cash. and they go stock options. And
They made him an offer he couldn't refuse, man. They fucking backed up the loading truck into his thing and he's probably, as he signed the pen, he probably had to stick his hand out, just bundles of cash in his hand with just a pen and signing the
so much
contract.
cash that he's like, I'm going to train on eating the cash now.
He has no choice. It's taking up too much space.
Competitive cash eating. Put it all back.
That was the only thing that was holding him back from eating more too, is the expenses.
Probably. That's an expensive. I remember when I was training, or not training, but when I was researching, and then some of the people were like, they do a lot of just water.
It's all the water.
Water training, because it's just literally, it's just cheap.
Well, he's probably doing it with Cristal now.
Yeah.
I actually think with his Impossible Meat Money, Joey Chestnut's you're gonna watch his YouTube channel. It's gonna be, this is the caviar challenge. It's gonna be all fancy pants stuff now.
That'd be great.
19 different meals at Carbone, including tip.
Yeah. Well, that's disappointing.
Exactly.
And especially so soon. It's in like 3 weeks or something.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is bad news. They should have at least waited to announce it, because this is going to hurt their viewership. But
For sure. No Joey Chestnut. And gambling on it, too. You're like, probably gambling. He probably brings in a lot of gambling revenue.
on the actual truth is, they probably better off without Chestnut there from a gambling perspective.
That's true, actually. Why bet on
it's actually
anybody
like,
else?
you can bet on the over. You bet on his over.
Yeah, you over under. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the gambling thing, the odds are like infinity to zero.
He's minus 1,000.
Breaking news.
This is really breaking news.
Very breaking news. We had to come back and insert this now.
We were literally at home.
We came right in here. Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi have now done a Netflix.
September 2nd, they are going head to head. This is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Times 1,000.
Fucking dogs.
So I'll tell you what, if you're one of those people at MLE, you're fucking licking your wounds right now. And remember, I told you that the vegan hot dog company was giving him $1 trillion?
Woo!
He is legitimately swimming in a pool full of cash right now.
Oh my God. Netflix just opened the purses up.
Open the purses. So
and this is what we wanted. We're enough Joey Chestnut going against the fucking worst guys in the world. Now we have the top two dogs eating dogs.
Yes.
This is incredible.
So we will watch this unfold, and we'll be keeping tabs on it.
Yep.
But we had to go back in
and turn on all the lights.
For people that have not been paying attention, this will be a must-see.
Huge.
Maybe we'll do a live stream watching it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, back in the episode.
All right.
Can you just tell people, because Danny was telling me about this thing that's like the funniest shit ever. I was dying. The Shabbos Goy.
The Shabbos Goys? Yeah.
So what is it? It's one guy in New York?
No, it's not one guy. No. There's multiple guys. So basically for Orthodox...
But this is a big one.
Yeah, well, there's Orthodox Jews in New York. I assume everywhere else, but I think it's like really a New York thing. And so, they all have the loopholes where they like... on Shabbat, you're not allowed to basically it varies how religious you are, but essentially you're not allowed to do anything. Like if you're the most religious, you're not allowed to carry your keys, money. You're not allowed to they say you're not allowed to even hold your kids because you're supposed to be resting, right? Because it's the Sabbath or whatever. And so then they have all
the kid one's strange.
Crazy, right? But so they have all these loopholes where they're like, you're not allowed to turn your oven on, but then you're like, well, how are we supposed to cook? And then so they'd be like, well, we turn our oven on Friday and we just leave it on for 2 days, and that way,
and then you hire some goy chump.
But then for your lights, for example, you're like, well, you don't want to leave your lights on all the time because that's annoying to have to go sleep with your lights on, right? So then there's a thing where you can just get someone who's not Jewish. And
he's already going to hell, so whatever.
Yeah, he's already going to hell, exactly. And you put him on the payroll. I think they pay them.
How much do you think these guys get paid
I don't
to
know.
turn
I
some
mean, I
lights
remember
on?
we had our friend Amish. Our friend Amish came to Brooklyn.
Well, he did it as a favor, he said.
But he did it as a favor, but they still so he was walking around Crown Heights or something, and then some Orthodox, he's Indian, and some... So they assumed he's not Jewish. Good assumption. And they were like, hey, can you come in here? And he's like, what? And they're like, can you just help us out with something? He's like, sure, whatever. And he came
Vibrator won't turn on.
And they were like, I can't remember if they're like, can you turn our stove on or can you turn the lights off or something? And then he just did it. He had no idea what was going on. He's just like, sure. And then they're like, oh, thank you. And they handed him a bottle of water like this. They go, here you go. It was a hot day. And they handed him a bottle of water. But the cap was off. The cap had been broken.
They paid him in
and it was just filled up from the sink.
They paid him in a bottle full with tap water.
Just tap water, like a used.
So how much are these Shabbos Goys
I don't think they're making a lot or whatever, but essentially, like that's the way.
So there's this famous
you just
one,
get someone,
and he
but it was in
found
the
out,
news
and there's a
recently.
famous one, and he found out that he's part Jewish.
Basically, he found out that like his great grandfather was Jewish, so then they fired him because they're like, well, then we can't employ you. You have to not be Jewish, and I guess technically, like,
and his whole thing
down
is being the
bloodline.
Shabbos Goy.
Yeah, he's like he does it for every. Well, he probably turned it into a bit of a business. You know, he probably has a whole block of people. Like he's the guy just going from house.
I mean,
to
that
house,
should have been their first indication.
I mean, it's literally the easiest job in the world.
You see this guy making $200,000 a year on his Shabbos Goy business. You go, hey, let me. Could you mind if we do a DNA test on you?
Well,
very industrious.
I think they were. I
Shabbos
think
Goy.
the Jews were like in a weird way bummed about it because I think he was like the guy.
goat, yeah.
Like they said in the
This guy walks in the house before you know it, everything's off.
Yeah, like I think he was like paid for like as like some sort of group payment because they said they paid him severance. Like when they fired him, they gave him like several weeks severance.
Well, several weeks.
Yeah, but
$1,500.
I mean, it's not a real job. I guess it is to him.
This guy was doing okay. Apparently,
All he does, I mean, it's the easiest job in the world. You just walk
the
in.
line
you go,
thing?
Oh yeah. So because of this law, these rules. About like the Sabbath or whatever, because I guess like in your house you can carry your kids, but it's just when you leave your house, that's the rule. Is like once you've left your house, you can't carry nothing. So essentially what they did is they wanted to like extend the domestic zone, I guess is what they consider it. It's like your house is like the domestic zone and then there's like the city zone or whatever. So then to extend the domestic zone, they run a wire. There's like a fishing line that's run all around Manhattan. Like it goes from like Houston Street up to like Harlem basically.
How high is it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Does it
I think
clothesline you?
No. It's probably like 10 or 20 feet in the air or something. But it's a fishing line that goes literally all around Manhattan. Like it goes as high as like the top of Central Park, down the west side. There's like an area that it doesn't. And it's like all. So essentially, if they live in Manhattan, they're allowed to walk outside and they can like, so they say it's like, so, you know, I can push a baby stroller because otherwise,
you go, technically this is my house.
Otherwise
Why does
I'm locked
fishing
in.
line make it technically your house?
I have no fucking idea.
That's the craziest proposal. God's like, I told you weren't supposed to do stuff on all this stuff on
stay
Sunday.
in your
You
house
go,
on Saturday.
Yeah, I was in my house, which is Manhattan. Did you not see
All
the
of
fishing
Manhattan.
line?
Yeah, you see the fishing line we set up? And then it's funny because like I wonder if because then apparently like it's not cheap to keep up, like for the upkeep. It's like 100 to 150 grand a year.
Why?
Because the fishing line breaks because it's just a piece of fishing line, right? So then like a branch falls on it, it breaks, and then I guess the moment it breaks,
You freeze.
dude, like the moment it
You
breaks,
just drop
yeah.
your baby.
Yeah, the moment it breaks, people are like, fuck, we can't go outside until this gets fixed. So then they have probably like a group of like contractors who
no,
are just
it'd be
like
good.
on call.
Your wife wants you to go shopping on Sunday,
Yeah.
and you hire someone to clip the line.
You grab your sniper rifle, you're like,
Bing!
sorry, the line's down.
Line's down. I guess we're inside for the day.
Just doing nothing. Just reading the Torah all day. I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Actually,
though.
that's not
It's
bad.
not like you can't like turn on Netflix. Can't do anything.
I guess you work in the shed.
No, you're not allowed to work in the shed.
Why can't you work in the shed?
You're not allowed to do anything. You're just explicitly not allowed
I thought
to
it was
work.
no electronics. Okay.
No, nothing.
What are you supposed to do?
Like study the Torah.
That's gay.
Yeah. You're supposed to just like study the Torah and just sit around and just chill.
So it's more the wife that's fucking clipping the fishing line because you've figured out the loophole to go out with the boys.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you go hang out at the synagogue and probably like talk shit about the.
Yeah, you're like,
whatever.
well, I'm cooking around because I don't know
the
if you
women-
saw. There's a fishing line up, so I'm in my house right now.
Yeah, so they put the fishing line up. It's a little insane.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I guess it costs. I am curious though, and I think our friend Joe, the lawyer, who might be watching, will DM me and tell me because he knows all about this. But I wonder what happens when the fishing line goes down. Like, is there? Because there's no even way of everybody being contacted to say the fishing line's down because nobody has their phones.
Yeah, how would you even know
Right?
the fishing
And
line's
it's a
down?
big city, so it's like
So they're probably all breaking the law right and left.
Probably they're like, if the fishing line goes down Saturday afternoon, it doesn't matter. Like for all intents and purposes, it's up.
It's one of those. The amount of loopholes. You're just like, we're not really doing the thing. Why don't we just rewrite the Bible? How about that for a loophole? It's like we rewrote a new Bible, and it's like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At that point.
At that point, yeah.
You know what? While we're in Danny Corner, would you mind giving me the update of the GameStop thing? Because I feel like you're sort of tapped into that.
The GameStop thing, pretty crazy. So for people who obviously know Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty or whatever.
Roaring Kitty.
Yeah. Deep fucking value. He, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he came back to Twitter. He's been gone for like 3 years. And he basically announced that he had essentially like a $240 million position in GameStop, half of which was he had 5 million shares of GameStop at $20 a pop, so that's $100 million. And then he had $100 and some odd million worth of June call options, which like expire. Essentially, they're the right to buy the shares at $20 that he bought for, I think, like $6 each. But they expire like June 21st, I believe, is the expiry date. So if it's trading under $20 on June 21st, literally they're worth zero, right? Like they're worthless. And so he posted some meme, like whatever, a few weeks ago saying I'm back. And then GameStop just like took off. Okay. Like it literally just fucking went crazy. I think it was around like in the teens or something. And then it got up to, I want to say as like, maybe as high as like $70, $60.
There's crazy amount of short positions on GameStop.
Well, there's crazy because it's a terrible business. It's like it's an actually just objectively like go walk into any GameStop. They're like it's just a terrible business. It's not a good business. Like I don't know what to say.
But
like,
they're bathing in cash right now.
well, they are now because they basically anyways, there were all these people were like, what's going on here? The stock took off. All the retards.
GameStop's operating like a wife's candle business that just has unlimited funds but nothing to sell.
Well, but they don't have unlimited funds. But
Not
now,
unlimited, but
now they kind of are in an interesting position because they're on their balance sheet. They have all these shares, right?
Yeah, and they're selling them,
and they sold them all. They sold all their available shares into the market to raise money.
Yeah, they're sitting on like billions of dollars.
So now they have, after all this whole thing, they have $4 billion worth of cash, zero debt. And they have $3 billion a year in revenues. So
and their stores all barely break even.
Yeah, I don't know what the actual. I can't imagine their.
I guess you're a real estate business at that point.
I don't know if they own their real estate, but possibly
Well, they probably should start.
Yeah, they probably start, and they could now. But anyways, people were starting to speculate where they're like, where did he get this money from? Like he didn't make because his original position in 2020 was $50,000. Right. So people are like, how did he turn $50,000 into a quarter of $1 billion? And then they were like, well, maybe, some sort of people's conspiracy minds started going and they're like, well, maybe someone's backing him. Right.
And you have to disclose that. Is that the idea?
The thing is if someone was backing him and then he's like posting these things, there could be a case that there's like market manipulation, especially if he sold his options, but he hasn't sold them yet, which is crazy because it's today's June 12th. See, he only has like 8 trading days left before these things expire. So they're trading at, I think, like $30 today. So they're definitely in the money. But people were saying, oh, he's going to start getting investigated for like market manipulation. He did a live stream last Friday. He's like, I still hold everything. They're, I don't have any backers. Like
it seems to me that there's a little bit of, there's definitely certain types of market manipulation going on at like the high levels. And, they always come with like a slap on the wrist. And there is sort of a bit of it. It seems like to me, it's like, hey, you don't get to do that kind of stuff. We do that kind of stuff.
I mean, the thing is,
am I right to see that a bit of that?
I will say we
don't like these big companies are like, no, we don't get manipulated. We do the manipulating.
I will say though, they are actually like with the SEC and stuff. Obviously the politicians who all front run their private, like their proprietary information that they get classified stuff and they'll buy stocks or whatever. They don't ever run afoul, but there's no shortage of the SEC putting some guy who works on a trading desk at Goldman Sachs in jail for like 10 years for insider trading. Like they try and make huge examples of the people they catch to kind of.
But this isn't. But you're saying insider trading. It's this
or pump and dumps and stuff. Like
is it?
They were saying this
isn't
would be a
this
pump
just
and
like
dump
this is short squeezes that happens all the time.
Well, but they're saying that it's like again, I don't think it's market manipulation because he should be allowed to say, hey, I have this position. I'm not like why aren't I allowed to say this?
And he's a personal trader trader, not like a
Yeah,
hedge fund.
well, that's what I'm saying.
He doesn't have to
So there
disclose.
was someone was saying, and then there was someone saying, oh, maybe he's in cahoots with the CEO Ryan Cohen because they had this grand plan where he would do this, pump the stock up, then they sell into all these retail traders who are now funding the business. It's kind of like a weird quasi like GoFundMe almost for GameStop, where
Definitely.
people are now like, obviously when you buy shares, you are financing the business, but now it's in a different position. But then like just at the end of the day, it's just, I don't like, maybe they pivot to something else. It's not a good business. Like,
Well, it's definitely not going to be worth.
dude, they sell.
that,
It's like,
I mean, that
most
duh.
people don't buy video. Like, you play video games, Johnny? Do you buy physical games anymore? No, it's like most people just download them to their console. So the whole business originally was you bring in your
It's a
old,
bad business.
old game. Well, it wasn't. It was probably a good business 10 years ago. You bring in your old game and they go, we'll give you $5 for it. We sell it for $40 and buy a new game or whatever. And then, but people don't do that anymore. And
They're
they
trying to get into baseball cards or something
like
now.
baseball cards. They sell like Funko Pops, or like, you know, they sell consoles which are like have zero margins on them. You can buy them at Amazon. You can buy them at Best Buy. You can buy them absolutely, like all the stuff they sell you can buy anywhere.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do, but I mean, he's currently up.
But it seems
These
to
are
me
crazy
like it's one of those
swings,
things.
though, man.
Well, because a lot of this is what happens though. A lot of people lose all their money, right? So a lot of normal people will put their money in and lose their money, and then it starts being calls for like, hey, we need to regulate this stuff more because all
Yeah.
these people lost their money, and they're like, you're allowed to gamble.
Yeah, you're allowed to gamble, and you know, again, if you want to buy it, like I saw Shkreli did some whole like breakdown, and he basically, you know, he did like for how a financial analyst would break down GameStop, and he basically said they're worth $6 a share, and yeah, that's just like what he would basically peg them at is like a fair value of $6 a share. They're currently at 28, but. Yeah, I don't know what his plan is because these options expire soon, and you know, but the swings he was having because he would.
Well, he has to sell them.
He has to sell them, or he can exercise them and buy. I think it's like another 6 million shares at $20.
Why wouldn't he do that?
If they're less than $20, like if shares are less than $20, then they're just worthless.
Oh, they have to be, but they're not though.
Currently, they're not.
So we can do it now.
He could, but he isn't. Like he could have
Why
done
not?
them. I mean, they were well, that's the big $1 million question. Like they were as June 6th, they got as high as $60. So you're like, he was up on June 6th, like $600 million. Like he was up. He almost got to $1 billion.
Crazy.
Like he was pretty close to it, but then there was all these rumblings where you're like, oh well, if he sells out, and again he's saying I like the stock, so then you're like, well, if you like it, you're not selling.
He likes the stock is so crazy. Obviously, you don't like the stock. You like this
company or whatever
game or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, on no scenario do you think it's worth that much. Obviously,
I mean, I guess he does. I
He
guess,
doesn't.
Yeah. So, and I saw another thing where someone was saying maybe he was doing some sort of option strategy where he like sold a bunch of options and then used that money to like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but he obviously did disclose those other trades that he made if that's the case. So I have no clue, but the swings have been unreal to watch. Like, dude, some night like he'll like because you can do like trading starts at like midnight on Robinhood or whatever, and then people will be like, he's up like $300 million right now, and then it opens up, he's down. Like that 300 plus 100. He's having like 100 daily swings of hundreds.
and
of
it's just a
millions of dollars.
guy.
He's just like a dude. In his basement.
What a fucking cool guy.
Yeah.
Fellas, I got to tell you about Marek Health. It represents a paradigm shift in how we approach medicine, empowering those who want the most out of their healthcare and wish to maximize their potential. That's the elevator, but me and Danny have both done it, and there was a bunch of stuff that I didn't even know about myself, especially I've been touring a whole bunch. but-
Absolutely. I mean, I just actually had my final consultation thing yesterday, so they prescribed me all this stuff, and I'm about to do some pretty interesting things actually. Daily tadalafil, which is a big one. That's the I'm going to be bricked up.
Come on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Daily tadalafil, or it doesn't have. It could be.
I have three different things I'm taking
every
now.
other day, and then the one that I'm most excited about is, although I'm kind of worried about because I've never done anything like this, is injectable L-carnitine. But I got to get myself
What?
needles. Yeah.
How often?
They say you can do it like they say it's good to do.
What is
it on
that
days you
fixing?
lift. They say it just gives you more energy, like better workouts, better like just gym performance, just
Interesting.
overall better health. But but they have a compounding pharmacy that they work with. So like, it's really the only way you can get it is once you like go through the process or whatever. But so injectable L-carnitine.
I actually, the most thing I was thinking when I did this is like, why did I not do this before? And I'm not just saying that from the ad perspective. I was legitimately like, I'm such an idiot. I'm solving all these things. And it was like, especially things that you're like, oh, it's generally a little tired. It's like, you go 10 years before you solve it, and it's solvable.
Yeah, well, the thing is the human body is very capable of just dealing with like these inconveniences. Like, you got a bum ankle, and you go, I guess I just have a bad ankle for the rest of my life. But like, you don't have to. Sometimes you do have to, but you don't always have to. Sometimes you don't have to.
Yeah, you can solve a lot of the things.
Yeah, you just have to do
Dude, some of the things is like, you find out you're just like, oh, your iron's low.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
You go, hey, just make a small dietary change, and that'll fix something.
So anyways, couldn't recommend it more. The team maintains rigorous clinical standards. They hire the physicians who reflect a standard of excellence and who are hungry to continue their education for years to come as the science evolves, so the people know what they're talking about, and they're there to actually like solve your problems. They're not just there to treat the symptoms. Clinical team utilizes most recent cutting-edge literature to create informed, personalized, evidence-based, impactful protocols for the clients as possible. So me and Danny both did it. And they have expedited onboarding for those interested in working with Marek Health medical providers for personalized treatment options ranging from hormone optimization, cognitive enhancement, to hair loss prevention, body recomposition, and all from the comfort of your home. The optimization package, which you want to do, includes the same elaborate panel I get myself. And with those test results, the Marek Health clinical team optimizes my personal protocol. To get the exact same panel and medical oversight, click the link in the video description below, marekhealth.com/boyscast. Use the code boyscast to save 10% at checkout. Okay, so quickly, just the Hunter Biden thing, to one thing that blew my mind, and I don't know how I didn't know this, so maybe I'm going to say it and everyone already knows this, but Donald Trump Jr.'s wife is Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. Did you know that?
I think so, yeah.
That's fucking
dude, they're
crazy.
all, this whole thing this is wrestling, dude.
Well, I know that.
This whole thing is just wrestling. They're all behind the scenes. They're all fucking having beers and hanging out.
To some degree, yeah. And I know Trump always kind of says like, oh, me and Newsom actually got along. But like, it's pretty wild to think that like his son's wife was Newsom's wife.
Dude, it's the same thing like, in the NBA, there was...
Dude, imagine even like when he was the president and they're fucking working together or whenever, and he's like, my fucking son's banging your ex-wife and he's marrying her. It's like... You're right. It is like bizarre.
Yeah,
there's other girls in the world.
I mean, it's just like how there's the NBA hoes. Like you see that thing with James Harden,
top politician hoes. Yeah.
Well, you see that thing with James Harden where his girlfriend caught the bouquet at Rajon Rondo's
he wasn't happy about it.
And he wasn't. He goes, that just cost me like $200 million. Not great.
Well, he doesn't have to get married.
I know.
The bouquet.
It's just like obviously like a joke, or whatever. But she's like. She has like a kid with some other basketball player. She's like been like dating a different basketball player.
The band scene was definitely like that.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, girls just know that that's like a tight knit group of like hoes who are just kind of, around, and they know.
You know what it really
know
is?
What the
guys are just so lazy.
Yeah.
When it comes to that shit, you're just like, there's tons of fish in the sea, and you're like, there's also, whatever, but there's also a few in this little pond
this lobby
here.
Of this hotel that we always stay at when we're on the road, and you go.
It is. It's just a straight of active convenience that you end up banging all the same ones. It's like those are the ones that like. The truth is. If girls are smart and you just like really pursue a guy, like you can actually lock a guy down pretty easily by just being like, this is happening. And the guy's like, I'm not interested. And you go, we're getting married. And then the next thing you know, the guy's on the altar.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. But anyway.
So you predicted an accurate prediction by Danny, which I will say is you sort of said that you think that the Hunter Biden thing is going to go through. And then immediately it's going to be like, look how fair we are.
Well, look how fair. But I mean, my main prediction was that they were going to jail them both. So that is to be determined.
Well, but the way that you,
I thought, like they're going to find him guilty. To say like, hey, this is a fair system. And Biden has said, he's like, I'm not going to pardon my son, although a lot of people think he will. But he's like, I'm not going to pardon him. And then...
nothing's really going to happen, I guess, right?
What do you mean?
What's he going to... He's not going to put him in jail, you think? You think he's going to do jail? Like, you think he's going to do a couple days of jail?
I mean, I have no idea. Like, the thing with Hunter Biden is... Again, like, it's so crazy. This is in the last 2 weeks. This has never happened ever before. And then, like, there had never been a son of an active president convicted of a crime or a former president convicted of a crime. And both things have happened in the last 2 weeks.
It does feel like a bit of House of Cards where like someone behind the closed doors has to be like, listen, Hunter's got to take a fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, dude,
but then again, there are jury trials.
The thing he got like booked for was lying about, like, I guess when you apply for a gun,
lying about doing drugs.
They ask you, do you use illicit drugs? You're like, do you know how many people in America?
Yeah, that's everyone.
That's like
how many people would go to jail?
50 million people, like legitimately, or probably smoke weed. And you're like, yeah, I have a gun and I smoke weed. Which would basically, you're now guilty of this crime.
Well, yeah, I guess they were trying to plea him out and he didn't want to do that.
Well, no, originally, that's the crazy thing, is originally they did, I don't know if you remember
a sweetheart deal.
They gave him that crazy sweetheart deal where it was like behind closed doors and they just were like, your dad's the president, here's this deal that like won't be in trouble. And then the judge found out about it and the judge was like, fuck that.
Wait, that's what happened?
Yeah, the judge basically got wind of it and was like, no way. Like, you would never do this for anybody else. Like, this would never be an option for anybody else. And he's just like, no. And then just like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're not giving him preferential treatment. Yeah, it was like, I want to say it was maybe late last year. And that's why it went to trial. But they had like some deal in place for him.
But the media definitely played out the way that you sort of said it, where it was just like, immediately it was kind of like, this is how fair we are.
Yeah, this is how fair we are. Look at us.
Look how fair.
Now the question is do they both go to jail?
But the difference is, it was like one's not the front runner for the president.
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course. It's like, that's a small sacrifice to be like, hey, Hunter, like, you got to go to jail for maybe 3 months.
An afternoon. You got to do some. You got to go coach basketball for a weekend,
or do weekends or whatever in jail, and then. But we're gonna put our rival also in jail, like political rival who's running for president and former president in jail. He'd be like, "Sure, Dad. Like, that's anything for the family, Dad."
It's unprecedented in my life. All this stuff. That's for fucking sure.
It's crazy,
and it feels like it too.
It's literally unheard of, dude. 10 years ago, it was unfathomable that a president,
Malik Obama going to jail.
You just always understood. I know that maybe it's not supposed to be the case because like that's how, you know, like kings and stuff where they're like that's like why they had the Magna Carta, because it was, you know, you couldn't put a king in jail, and then they go, no, like everybody needs to be, you know, the same under the law. But it was still understood. You're like, if you're the president, you can't go to jail for stuff. Like, you just can't. You're the president. I don't know. It's just understood. Like, I mean, think of all the crimes, Bill Clinton and all that stuff, and you just go, yeah, I don't know, you just don't go to jail. Maybe they'll publicly shame you or something, but you're not going to jail. Yeah, you're not going to jail. Did you see any of the Kevin Spacey stuff?
I did see Kevin Spacey. He's been doing a crying tour.
Yeah, he's been doing a crying tour. Man, he's so fucking talented. It is.
You're saying that you like the acting?
Oh my God, man. I listened to him on Lex Friedman, dude. He's so good at impersonations.
Wait, was he doing his impersonations on Lex Friedman? His
impressions are incredible. Like, he does dude, he was doing like, he's talking about all this acting stuff, and then he talked in like, but he was talking about, he did like Bill Clinton and Jack Lemmon, and fuck, he's doing all of them, and they're all so good. Like,
Wasn't he a comedian doing those?
No. He was on SNL. Remember, he had that famous, like, the SNL, the Star Wars outtakes.
Okay, so yeah.
Remember that in like the 90s when he hosted SNL? Dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, this guy's so.
Well, that's why it's hard
talented.
it's hard to believe it. Not like it's hard to take anyone seriously when an actor goes and does a crying thing, and you're just like, well, I know that's your literal specialty.
Yeah, him especially.
That's what, like, dating an actress chick, it would be like tough because they'd come in being like, and you're like, is this girl crying or fake girl?
Fake crying. Yeah. Like, you can just turn this on, not to be.
Well, I know how. Yeah, I know you're a professional at this.
Yeah. But it was. I honestly felt bad for him after, because I was just like, man.
Well, a little bit. He's like, yeah, he's going on about. He was like, I'm completely bankrupt. I owe money. I'm selling my house. Blah blah blah. I can never work again. And the main thing is, you're like, I was innocent in all charges.
Yeah, you're like, I was innocent of all charges. But like, the main thing is, you're like, he only has one skill. He's like the best actor in the world. He can't go be a
bartender.
Yeah, he's the best actor in the world. It's the only skill he has. And if they just decide you're not working, then that's it. You're just not working, and there's nothing else you can do.
I guess when you're that famous, though, you could definitely do something else.
Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or do an impression YouTube channel. That would be a downfall, though. The guy from House of Cards is like, he's doing super chats where people are like,
yeah, reading super chats in various voices. You go, here's $50, dude. Richard Nixon. Yes. I am not a crook.
All right, that's $2 here from. We got $2.50 here coming in. From
And he owes so much fucking money.
Spacey's a
where you're
fag. All right.
Yeah, the thing is, he owes so much money too. Where it's like, wouldn't even be a dent.
No, you'd go bankrupt and then start again.
Yeah. I guess that's what he has to do.
But he said he's not going to, or he's trying
Well,
to.
he's trying not to go.
I saw
bankrupt.
Kramer was out there doing his.
Yeah,
Kramer has his
I
new.
haven't caught up on any of the Kramer stuff.
Well, I sort of saying this to Danny and Jarrett, but basically Kramer has a new book, Entrances and Exits, right? So he's doing a whole press tour about it, and it honestly pissed me off because he's doing the press tour. It was 18 years ago that he did his thing,
Yeah.
and he legitimately goes on every show, and he's just like. He's still like, if this thing broke him, right?
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there. And then every single time they're just like, okay, you got your new book. And then it's like within a minute and a half, they're like, so what happened that night?
Dude, he's not-
And he has to be like, I know. Like he's still getting flogged 20 years later.
Dude, you know how crazy it is? He's not Kramer anymore.
He goes, oh, I'm stressed.
But he's like not. He's not even seen of as Kramer. Like he's not Kramer. He's Michael Richards, the N-word guy.
You're saying that's how
That
much.
superseded Kramer. Like we don't even look at him as Kramer anymore. Like we just like he's just his main thing is the N-word stuff.
Yeah, I still see him as Kramer, but you're right. I see them together.
Yeah, but you're like that's almost like above Kramer now. People are like looking at him more as that than Kramer.
Yeah, I guess he just has to. If he just went and did like an interview for a year straight, everyone would maybe be like, to some degree, that's over. I think a lot of people don't care, but it's like, I honestly felt bad seeing him having to just like slink there. It's like, hasn't he had enough?
Yeah.
It's like, we get it. It was there's nothing worse in the whole world that you could ever do by being racist. Okay, it's like, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, and also he must have so much money. Like that's like
That's the other
how
part.
addictive. Like, or
You know what, just as
fame
you
and
said that-
stuff is like he has to have so much money, and he just can't walk away.
Interesting, but you know what else fucking said as you said that, because Seinfeld defended him when that stuff happened.
Yeah.
But maybe what Seinfeld was defending was the franchise.
Maybe.
Because obviously he's friends, but Seinfeld went really hard on it. But you're just like, he also might have been going really hard on this Netflix deal might not happen if he's
But I mean,
racist.
again, what, Seinfeld needs more money?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. I would say so.
Billionaire.
He likes money.
Yeah, I'm sure he likes money. I'm sure he does. But anyways, that's one of those things where, like, you know, you saw guys like Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was just like, or Gene Hackman recently, where everybody's like, can you believe what Gene Hackman looks like? And like, some of these guys were just like the top of their game, and they're like, yeah, I'm fucking 75. I'm done. Okay, I don't need to be famous until my last breath. Like, I'm gonna just retire like a normal person, just go live in just like some rural area and just like be a normal person
For a second.
Like, I don't need to be like in the limelight all the time. I have tons of money. I have an amazing.
And by the way,
accomplished career.
acting's not that fun.
No, it's
sitting
not.
there reading lines, and then you go on there and you sort of stand around on set, and you're just like standing around is like, I don't know if tiring's not the right word, but it's like boring.
Super, yeah.
So if you're like 70 and you just have to like stand there for 45 minutes while the people, you're just like, what are we doing this for?
Yeah, who is the guy, Lethal Weapon, the black guy from Lethal Weapon, Glover?
Donald Glover?
Not
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover. Right. I was thinking Donald Glover, but I knew that wasn't. I had somebody who did a movie with Danny Glover when he was like 70. They worked on a movie, and they're like, literally, you go to his trailer, and he'd just be like
Napping.
sleeping, always. He's always sleeping, and then they'd be like, you have your scene, and they'd be like, okay, and he'd show up and like bang out his lines and just back to sleep.
Yeah, and you are kind of like, it's not like, stand up, or there's other things, probably authors, like there's sort of like a craft there where it's like, the acting thing, it's like, let's be honest, especially in that sort of territory, most of the time you're just like, okay, remember my 4 lines, now walk out, now it's lunch, you sort of walk around, crap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
I guess it gets you out of the house.
gets you out of the house, but so does golfing.
That's true.
Golfing also gets you out of the house, or having a dog or something. All these things get you out of the house. I don't know. Like, I understand that it can, like, it's clearly difficult for
I don't believe it when people are just like, I love acting. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I believe it when, like, you know, Ian McKellen or something is like, or Gordon Pinsett is like, I love acting, and then he's like doing Shakespeare in Stratford Festival, and you go, yeah, this guy loves.
This guy
fucking
clearly
acting.
likes acting.
Yeah, this guy loves acting because he's doing like some just theater thing when he's like a famous actor. And you go, yeah, sure. But you're like, yeah, I don't know.
having a few lines in an office scene where you're just playing a guy, it's like,
No, you just need money.
you want money and fame.
Yeah, you want money and fame, exactly. But yeah, the Kramer thing, maybe you should start doing these tours as Kramer. Maybe that's what needs to happen.
Then you go, yeah. So he's sort of detached from it.
Like literally, like
I don't think he has the rights to Kramer, though. That's the problem.
Oh, really? Like the podcast starts, empty seat, and then he just like slides through the door. Something fucking knocks everything over. It goes, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, but it was. I didn't like seeing him have to get flogged like that. It was just like, let it go. It was 20 years ago.
So you sell 50,000 copies of your book? Like, who gives a shit?
I still think that he's trying to clear his name a little bit. I think
what,
that's the
though?
purpose of this.
Oh.
I think he doesn't like people. I think he doesn't like the fact that everyone he used to know still like treats him like he's fucking poison.
Yeah, I mean, again, he was like, there's nobody can understand what it was like to be Kramer in '98. Like, he was probably couldn't walk any corner of the earth. He probably was as famous as Michael Jordan.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and you're like, he's probably like, I want some of that back.
Like, at least
Instead of the opposite.
Yeah,
of that.
how about in between would be fine.
Yeah, it's just like a little less is fine, but not like, I don't want it to be like an ugly woman now. Like, that's how I'm treated, as like an old ugly woman. Yeah, you know?
Can we get Kramer on the podcast?
Oh, I would love that.
Oh, the last politics thing, it was, I don't know if you've seen Trump doing his speeches where he says he's going to eliminate taxes on tips.
Yeah.
He's going straight like some OG Ron Paul era things.
That's okay.
Get that black vote in Nevada.
I mean, tips are so poorly taxed anyways because they don't get claimed normally.
I know, that's true. So I was at in a table of elites. You would not be privy to. No,
Sure.
I was just hanging out, and then a bunch of these like there's like a top like political analyst in America, and then like some big like news person. I didn't really know these people, but apparently they're like really popular. And the big topic of conversation was who replaces Biden. Mm-hmm. So I have all my inside scoops aren't that inside scoopy.
Okay.
But the idea that everyone's like, oh, Michelle Obama, they were really poo-pooing that, like it's not even in the cards.
Okay.
But they were throwing out all these names, and apparently that's the big topic in the Democratic Party is like, this guy's out, who's in.
And who did
Which
they
is
say?
what... there's a bunch of names I forget. No one notable. Some Michigan guy, Whitmer maybe, I don't know. Some other
Whitmer?
weird... I don't know. I think it wasn't Whitmer probably, but...
I mean, again, Newsom seems to
Some
be...
girl. There's some girl I never heard of. It sounded like a bunch of weird names I didn't really know that well.
Okay.
So these guys must...
Nikki Haley.
No, these guys might have had their eyes in the clouds a little bit. And then lastly, there's all these elections where like the populist right-wing parties are just like destroying, and everyone's pretty up in rhymes
Europe,
in that.
In Europe, yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've just only point out on it is like, yeah, in Europe, France, because Macron's like basically fucking a Trudeau, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and I guess...
But everyone's saying like all these far right parties, and it was just interesting watching like the news cover and everything because they're always like far right parties. And if you actually look at what they're saying, it's all of it's like maybe get immigration under control. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the main thing.
Yeah, that's what most people are...
And everyone's like fucking these far right like fascists,
Sure.
and the guy's like, can we just get things a little back to normal?
Could we just have like a policy we enforce that we
Is
can
that
all
possible?
agree on? I'm looking at by the way, the betting markets. It changes a lot because Michelle Obama's not even on here anymore. But now...
That's probably was because I'm telling you, my inside scoops probably got the word out.
Yeah, but now it's Donald Trump is the favorite, but 51 cents, which is 51%, I guess. Biden 46, and Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom is now climbing up.
They weren't totally poo-pooing the idea of Newsom.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you who they definitely were poo-pooing, Beto O'Rourke.
he's not even on the list.
It wasn't on their list either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, DeSantis really dropped the fucking ball, huh?
I don't know. He might have probably just, it was in a lose-lose. I don't know if there was a scenario where he could have won and going against Trump.
Yeah, I can't.
So it might be one of those things where he could beat himself up forever being like, where did I go wrong? But it's also possible he didn't have a shot.
Also, he probably made a good move by the way he stepped down, so that because he definitely has a shot in 4 years.
I know.
Yeah,
I
whereas
honestly
he could have fucked that up. So
everyone was
badly.
like trashing him, and then like 14 days later, I'd say everyone was like, that guy's actually pretty
he's
good.
fine. And
Yeah. Like he
we'll consider him in 4
no
years.
stink really stuck on him. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of, I don't know if you'd call this cancellations, but so there's this girl Karen Reed, right?
Okay.
And she basically had this cop boyfriend in Boston, and then she allegedly drove her car drunk and killed this guy, right? And she's sort of pitching that this was like a conspiracy that the cops all are getting together because, when it's a cop, they all,
Okay.
and people are like, it's corrupt. The cops are like, no, dead to rights, she did it, right? And in the trial, they read all the police officers' group chats.
And texts and stuff. Yeah.
Woo!
Tough. Yeah. They were.
Would not be happy, my friend. I'd honestly, buddy,
Yeah, they're probably like, we're subpoenaing your group chats. Like, what do you need our personal group chats?
On second thought, I don't think she did do it.
What do you need the personal group chats for exactly?
So
how's that related to?
this is the thing we always talk about, where the group they actually, if Russia was actually trying to create like World War Descent or like China or something, it's just like bam, group chat
chats.
everyone.
Yeah.
And you could really do that. You basically, everyone has TikTok. You make them download something that has like a fucking Trojan virus in it.
Yeah.
And then so you basically have access to their entire phone. And then as soon as they do that, you just release all the group chats of everyone. It's like that would literally bring down America.
Chaos. Yeah, it would be cause
It would be chaos.
I mean, there
on
would
the
be
streets. Cars would be crashing.
Dude, you know what would happen if there was any like rumor of that about to happen? You just see like all the power grids going down from like like all the phone, everything would just end because like the people at the top would be like, we can't allow this to happen. It would be less chaos for the power grid to go down than the group chats to come out. They'd be like, look, just no power for anybody.
Have you ever seen the meme where is the black guy and he's popping out of the funeral and it says when you dead, but she starts to going through your phone?
Yeah. Basically.
That's Steve Jobs. You see Steve Jobs coming out of the thing. I know.
Bong.
In one set of texts, Proctor wrote, "She waffled him. I looked at his body in the hospital. He was banged up. She hit him with her car." In response, one of the friends asked, "She hot at least?" To which Proctor replied, "She's a whack job, C-U-N-T." I don't think you're allowed to say that word. "Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass." And then... And then the guy goes, the guy goes, "Any nudes in the phone?" And the cops were looking through her phone for nudes. But then the cop on the stand said, "No, I was a joke. I'm not actually looking through her phone for nudes."
I mean, I would just be like, dude, you know how stressful this job is? You got to let off some steam a couple times. I'd be like, look, yeah, we cracked some jokes.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. The boys are joking around.
Boys are boys.
When a fellow trooper sent a photo of one of Reed's lawyers, "Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nudes so far," Proctor said. "I hate that man. I truly hate him." And that's her lawyer they're talking about.
It's funny when like cops are also stupid about this stuff. Like,
I know.
You know, they're like, hey, you don't like have an encrypted
So
app or
everyone gets
something?
booked.
Yeah, you're like, you don't have Signal or some shit for like all this stuff.
It is true, because that's how everyone, you know, those people.
I guess they're all on work phones, though. That's the big thing, right? These aren't personal phones. Like, they have work phones.
Yeah.
So probably, like, the work phones are like, yeah, anything you use your work phone for, like, we can access it.
You just get a little too comfortable.
You get to, yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm a cop. You're like, why would this matter?
Dude, the amount of people that get busted from just putting their crimes in text messages.
Oh, insane. And again, it's probably is like, because it's your work phone, but it's probably is also your personal phone. You just have one phone that the company pays for. But it's technically your work phone, but, you know, it's just your phone, and then you start doing some stupid shit on there.
These guys are probably sweating more than she is in the courtroom. I was kind of looking into it, and I couldn't really get to the bottom of what I think of. I mean, everyone seems pretty dead to rights she did it, but their case is more like it's a conspiracy.
Well,
and I'm not in the courtroom to know what's happening.
I think that's, if you're the defense, right, you're just trying anything to essentially get your client off, and so this is probably on discovery. They're like, oh, this might be a strategy because you did clearly hit this guy with your car and killed him, so we have to get you off on a technicality at this point, because it's probably not up for dispute if she hit him with the car.
They're saying it is.
Oh, I thought it was pretty clear. I from what the cop said, he's like, no, she hit him with the car.
That's what the cop said, and they're saying that they killed their friend, and then immediately they're just like, "Wife did it, and we know this. Like, we're not looking elsewhere. We already got this one locked up." Which they do screw that up.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of documentaries where the cops are lazy, where they're just like, "No, it's the wife." Dude, the amount of times someone will go in and be like, "My girlfriend was like kidnapped." I mean, that being said, I'll just state, most of the time they're right.
Yeah,
it is. But because of that, like if your girlfriend like went missing and then you show up and you're just like, "Yo, my girlfriend's missing," they just like cuff you.
Yeah,
they're just like, "Okay, oh yeah, we know who did it."
I mean, it's usually that is the person who did it.
But when it's not, the guy will be like, "I'm telling you, look for this and blah blah," and they're just like, "Nice try, buddy."
Did you ever watch the Jinx?
Yeah,
Robert Durst. Have you seen the new one?
No, have you?
Yeah, I've been watching it right now, and so it's like the Jinx is this guy Robert Durst. He was like this big New York real estate heir or whatever, and then he was essentially 3 people he knew got murdered or like disappeared: his ex-wife, his best friend, and then a neighbor. And he went in Houston, Galveston. He went on trial because they found his neighbor, this guy, body chopped up. And then he essentially was like, I didn't kill him, but I panicked or something when I found his body, thinking that they'd think it was me, and chopped up his body. And he got acquitted.
I know.
Like, he somehow got off because he just had like the best.
That was the guy. That was the guy who shit his pants in court.
Yeah, he shit his pants in court. Well, and that was part
hung
of like,
jury. That's the one.
Yeah, no, yeah, right, hung jury.
Which, by the way, I mentioned this hung jury joke, and someone had found it and sent it.
Yeah, okay.
But so. And then at the end of the movie, he goes, at the end of the documentary on a hot mic, he goes into the bathroom and he goes, they know you did it.
Yeah, they know you did all of them or something.
Which is fucking
Which
crazy.
is so crazy.
So
The crazy part is, if you watch not to give too much away of the new one, but it's pretty good, actually. I'm like, what else is there?
Well, but it happened, though, right? So this is all based on real life. So
yeah,
give it away.
it happened. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But in the...
It's like saying you watch Napoleon. I don't want to tell you how it ended.
Right. Well, yeah, he died and stuff. But part of their strategy was to make him, because they have all his phone calls from prison, because he basically went on the run, and they found him. He went on the run the day before the last episode came out,
and then he started wearing a wig.
No, he had a full like latex disguise, and he was going to try like a latex mask, and he was going to try. He had like 80 grand in cash, and he was going to try and take a boat to Cuba.
Whoa.
To go somewhere with no extradition treaty or whatever. But the whole thing was, everybody's like, even the director was like, it's so crazy that he agreed to do this documentary, because he always just like, his biggest issue was always just like, he couldn't stop talking. Like, he would talk to the police, he would talk to investigators, like with no lawyer present. He'd be like, it's fine, I don't need a lawyer. And had he just not done this, he would have been fine.
I know.
Like, he got away with literally 3 murders, and it would have been totally fine, except for then they were just like, hey, we're doing this documentary, would you care to be in it? And any sane person would be like, no thanks.
I'm good on that.
I'm good on that. And he's like, no, I want to be in it. And then because it was like 8 episodes or 6 episodes.
That being said, sometimes when you're not in it, I think what he was thinking is, a lot of times these documentaries, they open up they start painting you as like really guilty, and then that starts making everyone point figures, and then next thing you know, they start looking into it again, and then
then he basically,
that does happen.
Yeah. But the problem is, he did the even worse thing where he gave them but he like every episode would come out like week after week, and then the guy would like text, I can't remember who he was texting, like a friend or something, and then when the 5th episode came out and they had his handwriting sample that got sent to like the Beverly Hills police or whatever, with another handwriting sample that he had, and it's like the same handwriting, that's essentially when he was like busted or whatever. And then before the last episode, essentially he just knew that, like, he's like, oh, I'm fucked. And so then he just like, went on the run, and it's all about that, because there was one murder where they're like, we can try him for and get him, because there was the disappearance of his ex-wife in the 80s, or his wife in the 80s or whatever, and then the guy he was already exonerated for, and then there was his best friend, this chick, and he killed her. And so that we're going to get him on this one, so we have to take him to trial for this. And then it turned out the whole deal was she helped him kill the wife. And so she knew that he had killed the wife because she helped cover for the original killing. And then I guess she was like, everybody loved him because he just had tons of money, right? So everybody loved him. And so I guess she was like falling on hard times. And then I don't know if she was trying to shake him down or whatever, but he was worried that she was going to rat him out. So then she killed him. He killed her. Crazy story, though. That guy's mental. But yeah, his whole thing was, he was like saying how he's making himself feeble, and he like in court, and he like the first day of court, he comes in and he's got like a neck brace on and all this stuff, and like...
Fellas, I got to take a second to tell you about my favorite underwear. If you don't already know, this is Sheath Underwear. Sheath Underwear, I'd say most of the people I know are on Sheath, and the reason is you don't go back.
No, you don't.
Sheath Underwear, DP's on them.
I'm wearing them right now.
A lot of our friends are on Sheath Underwear. They make the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of boxers that are too loose, briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. They got a pouch that puts your balls in it. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows the Sheath is the company with the pouch for the balls, which if you're running, whatever you're doing, maybe you're also...
I'm wearing the Riff Raff ones right now.
Oh, yeah? I actually have the Riff Raff ones, too.
I got the Riff Raff ones on right now.
I got the Riff Raff ones, too.
Yes, sir.
I have a bunch of different ones, actually. Yeah. But yeah, and then they have the pouch for the balls, And then on top of that, it fucking makes the package look nice too. So you're
Yeah.
actually cooking on that front, you know?
Yep.
For all those growers out there. Most comfortable boxer briefs you'll ever put on your body. Also, great present for someone. They're stretchy fabric made out of moisture wicking technology. They're super soft. Keep everything cool and comfortable for the summer. This is perfect for you. For me personally, some people know that I've got a fucking large ball issue.
Large ball issue.
Too much stuff in there.
Yeah, too much stuff.
So it keeps it right in place.
floating around, macroplastics.
Oh,
going
buddy!
on down there.
Without Sheath, I'm Johnny Knox filling out the thing, man. I'm fucking.
Shit's getting caught everywhere.
And they have a second pouch. They have one pouch for the balls, one pouch for the
Ryan's
dick. They
going
got
up a
everything
fucking
nice.
escalator, and there's just a fucking. What's going on? He goes, "Oh, my ball's stuck in the escalator."
It's particularly useful for staying cool in the summer while working out. The most unique thing about Sheath Underwear is they got the dual pouches. So let me tell you, it's a game changer. And by the way, if you're not into the idea and you don't want to do the pouch, you don't have to do the pouch. It's a sick underwear regardless. And sometimes I'd say 80% of the time I'm pouching it, but you don't always have to.
No.
So it's a great underwear either way. Best boxer briefs you'll ever wear. So you want to check it out. Find out about what this cooling comfort is going to do for you. You go to sheathunderwear.com, get the most comfortable underwear you've ever worn. Use the promo code Boyscast, get 20% off your order. That is sheathunderwear.com, promo code Boyscast for 20% off your order. So we got a lot of girl side hustles they're going on. The first one is this OnlyFans model charged after banana milkshake was thrown at Nigel Farage outside of the pub.
That guy gets so many milkshakes thrown on him.
It's dude, he's legitimately like
milkshake man.
He's the milkshake
Milk
man. It is funny the milkshakes are back though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nigel, he's like the Reform Party guy, and he's just been getting smoked
He's
by
the
milkshakes.
Brexit. He's the Brexit guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's funny because there's it really is the business model for girls now to be an OnlyFans chick, do something to be in some big controversy and then rake in the bones. And she already said and then they're asking her to apologize. She's like, I'm not apologizing. Like, why would she apologize? She's making $40,000 a month. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's funny because the OnlyFans chick, to promote their OnlyFans now, they basically have to be like pranksters. They're just like, here's my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the equivalent of like, hey, sign up here to see me naked. And before that, I'm going to be pantsing people in the hood.
Right.
Like, they're flashing the portal, they're throwing milkshakes at politicians. They're just like, they have to do something to cause some like controversy that they had to essentially.
Well, there's just so many chicks on OnlyFans now. It's like, how do you separate yourself?
Briefcase full of dildo prank.
Yeah, how do you separate yourself from the pack? And you got to do all these
have to
crazy
be in a
stunts.
news stories. So that one was making me laugh.
By the way, if any of these simps are watching right now who watch one of these things and go, I'm going to go sign up for their OnlyFans, stop it. Just stop it.
Oh, agree.
Stop it.
Yeah, good point.
Seriously.
What are you doing?
This shit's embarrassing.
It's very.
It's like some fucking 7 goes and throws a milkshake on Nigel Farage and you're like, I'd like to pay $10 to see her naked. Like, stop it.
You have to have some respect.
Like,
respect for
literally, have
yourself.
a little bit of respect. Makes me sick.
I don't like it either because you do go, who is these people? And you know, some of them you probably know too. It's probably someone in your own friend circle.
That's the sick part.
That's the sickening
everywhere.
part. Could
look
be
to
you.
your left, look to your right. One of those
Could
people
be that
is a
who's
fucking
protesting a lot.
disgusting sip. No. Imagine I was
100% agree though. Have some fucking respect for yourself. This
Jesus,
is
go to
sad.
the gym or something.
If
Go
you
for a walk.
if you really need it so bad, type in their name, leaked nudes.
Yes,
You'll fucking,
it's like the Reddit is just full of this shit.
to
Like,
go pay for it. What are you doing?
so what? You can talk to some guy in India? Like, stop it.
You're not even talking to them.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane. Yeah, you're probably talking to AI now. They probably replaced.
I don't know how it's working.
I don't know. I don't know how guys are so desperate that this is the kind of shit they're up to.
Really gross to see.
Yeah,
Get it together, boys.
get it together.
I quit my boring 9 to 5, become a professional sex toy tester. So here's a job. Sort of like when a kid wants to be like a pie tester. I'm sure that was a big.
Yeah, that was all. When
I'm
I was
sure
a
that was
kid,
you.
I was hell yeah. I goes, that's a job.
It's always funny just like, thinking you have some chump who's dating this girl. She's like, all right, I'm going to work. She walks in the other room. Hey, honey, what's this package from your work? It's just like the fucking behemoth dilly.
Yeah. I literally did a short film once, actually, when it was about this girl who was a sex toy tester.
Yana?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then they have the guy version. Fleshlight tester's always funny.
Yeah. It works. That's the whole thing. He goes, yeah, works.
Cookie shop owner calls out woman who identifies herself as influencer to get free products, and she tried to get free products from her weddings. So I'll tell you,
This is the other side of
This
the
is a
guy.
good scam.
Of the guy, like, pathetic guys.
not a pathetic guy.
This is, yeah, but I'm saying, no, this is the other side where these girls are like, have 800 followers and they're like, I'm a beginning influencer. Can I have some free cookies? And you're like, get fucked.
My ex
Pathetic.
had 10,000 followers, and the amount of shit this woman would get, I swear to God, it is a lot of work to get a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
But like, if you are willing to put in the time,
It's like JJ, yeah. And if you're willing to
It's
go,
JJ style.
Yeah, if you're willing to go complain about shit, yeah, you'll get the odd $20 food voucher.
she
from
wasn't
American
getting
Airlines.
$20 food vouchers, buddy. She was getting everything. The biggest thing is they get every piece of makeup, which that shit gets expensive.
Yeah. But just steal it like every other woman does.
I'm telling you though, that game of like, if you are a girl that gets up to 10,000 followers, you can really get, you want a toaster, you get a free toaster. You whatever you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, you're right. You do end up being a person that's working a job for $20 an hour when you add it all up.
Right. And you're not even getting money. You're just getting products that you don't even want.
Yeah, you get a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
But they get addicted to it too. They're like, look at this, I got a free
It's a
hit."
game.
Yeah.
It becomes a game. You go, what more can I get?
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know. At this point, you have like 9,000 microwave ovens. Do you really need them all?
No.
But they would get all sorts of garbage, right?
Yeah.
So
I
it does
mean, it
work.
would be nice if you'd be like, can you get us a trip? She's like, I got me a trip. You go, fuck.
That was making me laugh, the idea of your girl when you bring her to Tulum, and then for her birthday, she opens up the thing and it's a trip to Tulum, and she's like, you're not coming? You're like, it's not my birthday. Why would I be going on a trip?
No, I'm going to stay here and work to pay for your goddamn trip.
Just
Enjoy yourself.
they want to go on a trip and like just buy them one ticket for the trip.
You said you wanted to go on a trip.
Yeah, what the fucking, maybe next time you say you wanted me to buy me something for your birthday.
So you're always complaining that I'm not communicating well. You said you wanted to go on a trip.
Yeah, maybe mention that you wanted me to buy multiple trips for multiple people, one of which is not even their birthday.
You look, if we had a similar birthday, I guess I could come too, but seems like this is like a birthday trip and it would be weird for me to come. So
Buy them the one-way ticket to like
one way.
some romantic.
Wait, you wanted to come back from Tulum?
Some like romantic place too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you wanted to be romantic, so I got you the one with the heart-shaped hot tub. What is this fucking? But it's also, this is interesting because it might be interesting for you to get some of this stuff, because basically she's trying to get all this stuff for her wedding.
Yeah. That ship sailed.
You bought everything already? I'm sure there's still
In
more
a
stuff
week.
to do. I feel like you're still doing stuff.
I'm not doing fucking shit all.
I'm a fucking.
Boys,
I am the man. I don't lift a fucking finger. Well, I do lift a finger to hand the credit card over, but
It's getting heavy. I don't know.
this is fucking after this wedding. This is what Danny's checks are going to be doing. Boing.
Guy, I am so minimally involved in this shit. It's
Really?
almost nothing.
I think I'm pretty more involved.
You
to be-
honestly might be. You honestly might be. It's just my girl and her mom, and and my mom, and they're all just like,
Oh, your mom.
it's the whole thing right there. She goes, "Do you like this?" I go, "Yeah." I blindly like. I'll be like, "What? You like that?" I go, "Yeah." What about this? Great.
Your mom's involved.
Of course.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just
The three of them are
blood dripping down my fucking ear.
You have a fancy suit?
Yeah. I got a nice custom made
How much that run you?
linen suit. Not bad. You know what? There's this place in Astoria that I've it's like this I can't remember who recommended, a friend of hers, or her sister-in-law or whatever, but it's like these Italian dudes in Astoria, and I got a suit, like custom made linen suit. I think it was like $900.
That's not too crazy.
No, it's totally. And I bought a suit from there before, really nice suit. It was like $400, like tailored suit. pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fine. I
Again-
mean, I'm wearing it one time.
Again, I think you could have got this stuff if you started being doing this stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to.
The guy actually, like when I walked in there, he's like, I know you from somewhere. And I was just like, I don't know. He goes, dude, I swear, have we met? He's like, I know you from somewhere. And I go, I don't know.
You could have got a deal, man. You think Jordan Peterson's paying for those suits? Come on, stop it, my friend. Those are on the hizzy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tie the knot, and I'm gearing. This is the message she sent. I'm trying to tie the knot, and I'm gearing up to spoil my squad rotten. And that does beg the question: will I be spoiled rotten at this wedding?
I mean, it's gonna be a nice wedding, I will say.
Will I be spoiled rotten? Because this girl is trying to spoil her friends rotten.
Yeah.
As I dive into the wedding planning, I love to include your amazing products in my bridal boxes. The bride-to-be wrote an email. Are you in for some bridal bliss? Let's chat.
Bridal bliss.
So you have to do embarrass yourself by sending these kind of messages.
Oh yeah, big time. But again,
You have to use cutesy words.
She has no shame.
They have no
This
shame.
woman does not know the concept of embarrassment.
You're right. It is the girl JJ.
Yeah.
The girl version of JJ calling and speaking on the airline for 45 hours to get like $4
yeah,
off
she
of
probably
a
sent
food voucher.
50 cookie places this like cut and paste message, and she goes, yeah, whoever wants to. And you're also like, you're a girl, make some cookies. Like, do you know how
Boom!
cheap it is to make cookies?
She wants these very specific. Her cookies she make aren't going to spoil the squad rotten though.
Yeah, I guess they're not going to be good like a man would make them.
It is hilarious just be broke with no money looking to spoil the squad rotten. It's like, well, it looks like you're not going to be spoiling them rotten because you're broke.
I guess not. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you think your girl comes in today like crying? It's like, we're not spoiling everyone rotten enough. In response, he congratulated her, but he posted a thing. She replied asking if his company was doing any collaborations with influencers, and she has less than 2,000 on Instagram and less than 900 on TikTok. But it is ballsy. But there's girls out there being like, I have 2,000 followers, I'm an influencer, and it is dark to watch.
Yeah.
I know a few people that I know from normal life that have fancied themselves influencers that have like 6,000 and they post like their journeys for nobody. And it's not fun to watch.
Here's the thing. You do have to start somewhere, and people do go from 2,000 to a million.
I know.
Right? So like, and especially
But maybe you could hold off on begging for the free shit.
that's what I'm saying. You're like, just wait a bit. Like you're kind of like this. You don't just start influencing and then the free shit pours in.
And by the way, to add to your comment, that's not the only thing. Everything you do is embarrassing that isn't normal.
Yeah.
Like if you decide if you're in your and the older you get, if you're in your mid-20s and you're trying to be a musician and it's not working out, embarrassing. If you're trying to start a company and it's not working out, it's all a bit embarrassing until it's putting yourself out there.
You're in the arena.
Yes, putting yourself out there is a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
But there's levels of it, right? Like there's levels, there's like a little bit of self-awareness that comes from like, I know I'm talking to 1,000 people versus like, I appreciate each and every one of you like doing all this stuff.
Sure.
Like I wouldn't be anywhere without you. I've seen a lot of people that have the like, I couldn't do this without you. And you're like, do what?
Yeah, exactly. Do what? Yeah. You're like, I watch, sometimes on YouTube or whatever. Or like
When we were going to do a shows at Imperial Pub for 2 people, we weren't telling everyone to come.
No, hell no. People were like,
This was
they were like, hey, you doing any shows this week? I'd be like, yeah, but like I'd tell them the good ones to come to.
Yeah, you go, no.
No, yeah.
What are you up to tonight? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Just inside.
Oh, I kept comedy such a secret in that sense.
I mean, the first year I did comedy, I didn't even tell any of my friends because I knew that the first thing they would say is, let me come. And I go, no, like wait a little bit.
Please wait.
I
I moved to a different place and did it. I went to LA and started stand up for like a month there where no one would see me.
Yeah, smart.
So anyways, the bottom line is this guy didn't do this
guy
stuff.
told her to take a hike.
Destroyed her.
Told his turkey to take a hike.
This guy destroyed her.
Yeah, and it probably worked out well for him.
Like he did.
He probably
used
got some
this
good
to.
PR.
Yeah. Woman reveals the crazy amount she earns conducting loyalty tests to see if boyfriends will cheat. And this is a whole business. Ugh. Buddy, the testers, such as Trinity, are chosen on the Lazo platform. It's a whole platform by users who suspect the partner might be unfaithful. Users will try to pick out a tester who looks physically like or has similar hobbies or personality traits that their partner would be attracted to.
Hobbies matter? Fucking idiots. Oh, yeah, I like volleyball. Is there someone on here who also likes volleyball? Because that's really what will catch his eye. His wandering eye is my love of volleyball. Idiot.
Fucking goons.
Just fucking big jugs out.
Yeah,
Out in
exactly.
the photo.
As per Insider, there are 400 testers on the platform, and the tester makes contact with the user's partner to see if they're willing to be led astray. So this is what we call entrapment in
Sure,
the industry,
yeah.
because there's so many guys where you're kind of like, would this guy ever like stray or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, you go, if you really threw it in his lap, he might, but that's never happened.
That doesn't happen, yeah.
And it never will happen. There's many guys that you go, he will never have in his life have a girl walk up to him and overtly proposition him.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, then no, he won't.
Dude, there's-
because he's not going to message. She's not messaging other girls. He's not doing the stuff. So it's like, technically, he's like, I won't.
Yeah.
But you're throwing him this curveball where it's like,
Absolutely.
this has never happened in my life before.
It's like the Gretchen Whitmer thing or whatever. where
What's that?
The entrapment, when they were the kidnapping plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer.
Yes.
And then all turned out just like it was a total bullshit, and none of them wanted to do it. But
Might
no,
be the next president, apparently.
Yeah. But
According to my inside sources.
but no, the funniest thing is, you know what? Like, you ever get like one of those spammy like chicks on Facebook go to follow you? Like, it'll just be like some totally.
I don't know. I don't look at any of that stuff.
Whatever, but it'll be like some totally like fake name, obviously fake profile created like January
Followed by
2024,
4 friends.
and you're 50, and you're like 50 mutual friends. I'm like, guys, what are you doing?
We're in entertainment, so I feel like we're like more tapped in, whereas a normal guy maybe gets. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, but you're like, a lot of them will be comedians. Most of my friends are comedians. They'll be like 50 mutual friends. I'm like, why?
I'll tell you, it does seem crazy though that you take a random guy who's. There's a lot of guys who will never have a girl in their entire life. And that's most people are never going to have a hot chick walk up to them and be like, can I suck you off?
Yeah. That's and that's another thing. Like with when the predator like hunters or whatever, you know, and they get caught and they're like, yeah, it's like some 16-year-old cheerleader messaged me and wanted to bang, and you're like, you're like, are you fucking out of your like? Are you so cooked? Like, what planet?
How
are
do you not know this is a
You're
trap?
like a disgusting 60-year-old like fat man was balding. You think like a 16-year-old cheerleader is just out of the blue messaging you because she wants to smash? Like, what are you thinking?
What are you thinking? I agree, but this is more entrapment than that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The tester then makes contact with the user's partner to see if they'd be willing to let us stray from the relationship, and voila. That is funny though. A girl coming up like, hey, what's up? You work around here? You go, you a fucking tester?
Beat it, fucking fed. Beat it.
She wasn't even trying to hit on you. She's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, you know, nice day out today. You go, fuck off, Fed.
Well, you know what? This type of shit is
Nice try.
going to cause men to have to treat women in no other way, to be honest.
Can't be trusted.
Yeah, you can't be trusted. I don't know. There's like literally a Soviet Russia all over again. There's fucking just spies everywhere. You go, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to treat you all like shit. It's the only way.
It's the only way that I can pretend. Yeah, I have to treat it.
I gotta treat you all like you're trying to ruin my life.
But there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Where they have these testers out there.
Hey.
And there also might be a guy out there that was like, you know, I'll talk to this girl. I'm entertained. I wouldn't actually do it.
Yeah,
you know what I
of
mean?
course,
He's like,
yeah.
yeah, some girl comes up to me outside of the bar and fucking starts talking to me. I might talk to her or whatever, but like, I'm not actually like going to her house or anything
of
like
course
that. You
not.
know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
There's probably guys that are that too.
Uh-huh.
And yeah.
They're just like that. But anyways, yeah, this is
Each tester, by the way, the testers don't make that much money. It's $70 a test, or they call it a mission. Out of that 70, she gets to keep 49. So the girl makes $50 a test.
yeah, I mean, they probably are like, sometimes it could be 2 messages. You're like,
No, it's in person.
no, I thought these were all on messages. No, these are just messages. No, these aren't.
No. It said that they
Oh, I thought these were just DMs.
sometimes they take as little over an hour. They can take a week or longer. I thought it said sometimes they like they go and find out where he hangs out and they go outside the work and stuff.
Oh, no. I thought these were just I thought these were all online.
No, it's
If it's in person,
no,
then that's
no,
a whole
no.
different scam.
Yeah, they do both.
These
man.
are honeypots. These are non-political honeypots. That's crazy. You should do that. I mean, the problem is it'd be way costly. You could do this for a girl. You get some of the dude dressed like a sheik and be like, "Can I buy you a Rolex? I'd like to buy you a brand new bag." And then she buys the bag, and you go, "Where the fuck did you get that bag from?" And she goes, "Oh, Sheik bought it for you." "Oh yeah, Sheik bought it for you." Pack your fucking shit in that bag.
Yeah, and then Sheik is like, You were looking at the coach purchase, but I think that it'd be more fitting for you to have a duffel bag.
Yeah, you go, let me buy you the bag. And then they hand like a duffel bag at checkout. And she goes, that's not the bag that you said you were going to buy me. He goes, back of shit.
I am Tester.
You've been busted.
Also, I won't be buying the suitcase. Not a chic.
Yeah, not that chic.
Really needed this $50. Really $50 to my name that I got from this test.
Maybe that could be like a new Uber feature. Uber chic.
Uber chic.
Uber tester.
So definitely there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I'd like to fly to you to Saudi Arabia, pee on you. $1 million.
She goes, so I have a work trip to Saudi Arabia. You go, oh, really? What are you guys doing over there? Your company's expanding? She goes, yeah, just business meetings.
Then you just put them on a one-way trip, and then they come and clean out the house. And you go, you want to test me? I test you.
Yeah.
I'll be the fucking twist of irony. The girl doing the testing gets the tested.
Yeah, good deal.
You send your girl up to a fake tester site to see, and then you send the message saying you're a tester to see if your girl's trying to test you.
Tester.
That's the fucking thing. You go. She goes, oh, I was doing a test. You go, actually, I hired that tester to find out that you're trying to test me.
Double agent.
Double agent. So you just got busted trying to test me.
Yeah.
Now I know the kind of fucking shit you're up to. Trying to hire a tester on me.
Very untrustwortty person.
Who would hire a tester?
Yeah. All right. Good to know. Good to know that I can trust you.
That's just so funny. I hired a tester.
Throw it right back in the
She has to hire a tester to find out if you'd hire a tester to test her. Okay, so then this is the ultimate side hustle, and there's some girls that are on the internet have figured out this side hustle. I'm advocating for this. The woman sharing the exact formula to marrying rich. So
Oh, yeah.
we're a bit back to basics with the side hustle. Things have gotten full circle in the last 6 years.
Sure.
Some girls have discovered this side hustle of marrying a rich guy.
Yep. Age-old side hustle.
You remember in MacGruber when MacGruber has all the gadgets that he's killing people with, and then he finds the gun and he goes, "This is way better than all those celery gadgets I've been using."
Yeah.
That's these girls finding out and marrying a rich guy.
They found the gun. Yeah.
That's the girls finding the gun. They're just like, "Wait, marrying a rich guy is way better than all the other fucking nonsense I've been doing."
All these stupid fake businesses and shit. I could have just married a rich guy this whole time.
That's way better. They did go full circle back to marrying a rich guy after all this shit in the last little bit. In the midst of a cost of living crisis, influencers are urging their female followers to marry rich men, dubbed the provider man trend. This is literally just like the 10 years ago trend.
Yeah, the literally 10 years ago and before, up until time started.
That's so crazy, them thinking that they found some hot new
life hack.
Hot new life hack, the provider men trend. This message on women's For You pages is simple. Find a man who's willing to provide. I got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Find a man who's willing to provide for you so you can live a more comfortable life. It's one of the benefits of this side hustle.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there goes. Damn, I wish I thought of that.
Genius.
She's an advocate for the high-value dating movement. The former mortician advises her...
She's a mortician?
It's funny, she's a mortician. Definitely marrying a rich guy is better than all those dead bodies that she was formaldehyding.
Yeah, definitely a better job than having to pull out old dead guys' fillings, melt them down, and sell them.
Definitely working at the morgues, less strenuous than dating a rich guy. She passionately tells her audience to stop dating broke, dusty men. Instead, date men who are richer and older. So,
but there's a trade-off there too. You're like, yeah, if you date a dude who's 50 or 60 or something, you're like, yeah, that is a strategy. But if you're in your 20s, that's a different thing.
What do you mean?
Like if you're like telling some 20-year-old, hey, you want to have a comfortable life, date a 60-year-old? They're like, yeah, I know that.
No,
they don't want to do that.
Well, he could be 35.
I guess, yeah.
If she's 20, he could be 35. If she's 30, he could be 44.
I feel, yeah, I guess.
Not that
I feel like when
crazy.
she says older, she means like older.
Possibly.
Like already on the like.
I mean,
past,
there's
past
plenty
the
of
first family.
guys who are 40 that have money. I mean, don't forget, if you're 22 and the guy, has like a house and a fucking good house and makes $150 a year, that's pretty rich for you.
For you, sure.
You're living a lot more comfortable life than your 9 roommates in Bed-Stuy.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyways, the more important thing is that you have to be pretty like the not they are back to the original thing of like dating a rich guy is better, but what they haven't remembered is the second part of that where it's like it's not that easy.
No.
Well, you're like, okay, so you're talking about rich probably at the liberal definition, you go 5% of men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're talking 1 in 20 people. It's like, okay, well, what makes you think you should get 1 in 20 people?
Sure.
That being said,
really
I'll
hot?
argue against myself here. Back to my original point, guys will get trapped in relationships, so you can trap these men.
Of course.
And I've been one of those people. You know, I've definitely been with one of those guys who just went with the flow right into a relationship.
Yeah, of course. So that's most guys.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's most guys.
yeah, there's definitely some that wouldn't, but there's a lot that would.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow right into a relationship.
Yeah, a lot of guys are like the meme sitting in the kitchen on fire being like, this is fine. It's fine.
She preaches the motto that men are destined to disappoint women, so you might as well walk away with the bag in the process. I don't like this little fucking sermon that she's given.
No.
Destined to
Again,
disappoint.
what is her actual strategy, though? Like, just what? Go down to the country club?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a big part of it. To find these other men, you have to step into the energy of I am worthy, I am healing, I am not making decisions. So I'm not making decisions from a place of insecurity. So essentially, you got to drop the scarcity mindset. That's what she said.
You want to have a scarcity mindset.
They sort of girlified like entrepreneur alpha culture.
Sure, yeah, no scarcity mindset. But
instead of starting a business, it's have the scarcity mindset of finding a guy that's like, I have many men that are rich that want me.
Yeah. That probably the problem is there's a lot of guys who lie about that just to get laid.
That's true.
And now you got to go, but if that's your criteria, then that's how you're picking. Then you'd be like, oh, this guy's rich, and you go on a date with him and fucks you a couple times, and then it's like, I'm not that rich.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to
Hell
lock down
no.
a rich guy. Yes.
No.
And also you have to be pretty hot and blah blah blah.
Yeah, you
blah.
get pretty hot, and a lot of rich guys are super busy sometimes, and because they're busy.
And a lot of the rich guys stay with a lot of rich guys. And so we're saying 1 in 20, it would be 5%. So you might want to put that more in 1 in 40 because there's a ton of guys that have money. I would say more like 1 in 60 you're looking at because there's
Single
probably,
rich guys.
I would say 2 out of 3 rich guys. It's like they're with the fucking wife from when they weren't that rich.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Like how many people? It's like they're with the old wife from when they weren't that rich.
Yeah, I
It's
think
the
a
only
lot
one
of
you can trust.
A lot of these chicks are just going to be sugar babies. I think that's what they're kind of looking for.
I think that's the next step
This
in
is
her
the
policy.
next step when this isn't working. You go, I can't find a guy to marry. You go, well, there's like
You don't actually have to marry
There's a
him.
6-year-old man who you could see twice a month, and he'll pay your rent.
Definitely once. That's the abundance thinking gets you for this.
Yeah.
You know what's an interesting? Okay, this is an interesting stat. Is penis size related to gun ownership, right?
Yeah.
And they did a big stat because people always say, oh, the guy's got a gun, he's probably got a fucking small pecker. And the
Yeah.
same thing they say about big trucks or whatever.
Right.
And they did this big, which by the way, seems like a trap out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
If they come, like the police come at your door, there's this new stat that says like anyone who has a gun has a bigger dick.
Yeah.
Do you
This,
have a gun?
This podcast has really disillusioned me on science.
100%.
What the fuck are these people doing?
Yes.
Like, this is like you got into science. You're like, I want to be a scientist. And now you're just running studies on the correlation between dick size and gun ownership. Like, what are
I'll
you
tell
doing?
you what. When you went to
Fuck are you
school with
doing?
science, you wouldn't think you would be under a guy's knees with a tailor and a measuring tape.
Just like looking at fucking like a binder full of dicks and their associated gun ownership, and you're like making spreadsheets, and you're like, for what? What is the purpose of this? What are you making better in the world?
I'll tell you the answer. The reason is they wanted this to work out the other way. They wanted to find out that people with guns have smaller dicks, so then they could use this as a campaign against guns.
Sure. So
That-
this
This is funded by George Soros, in my
This is a
opinion.
Soros. But then again, it's like if you're not like a serious science, then you'd be like, hey, it's not going our way. Just fucking axe the whole study. We're not releasing this shit.
Well, that's what happened. It didn't go their way, and the guy doesn't like it. The person who wrote this study, there's a lot of speculation in society that men who have trouble with their penises are more likely to own guns. But contrary to popular belief, the research found that men who are more satisfied with their penis size are actually likely to own guns. Contrary to popular belief, our study shows, because there is no theory for why men with bigger penises would likely to own guns, we do not believe this association is real. In other words, we believe this association is likely spurious I don't know what that word means. Do you?
I
would imagine
unrelated
what it means, yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Or due to factors that we failed to account for in our study. So the guy who did the study was basically like, I can't confirm it's a guy, but I would imagine it's a guy that was kind of like, his wife was like, all those people that own guns, that's pretty hot. And she was like, they have smaller dicks. So I'll go prove that. And she comes back home. She goes, how'd your study go? I said, fucking didn't work.
If anything, I could see this being from like some sort of conservative think tank where they're like, we want to dispel the myth.
That's not what happened.
Stop saying we got small peens. We actually have large pieces over here.
No, that's not what happened, because then they would have liked the study. These guys are saying, no, it's bullshit. Well, I don't know what they have to publish the thing though, because they don't get their money unless they publish the final thing, right? So they had to publish their final thing, being like,
idiotic.
But we still don't really think that it probably doesn't mean anything. And they said the association between penis size and gun ownership could be due to the fact that men with higher levels of testosterone tend to have bigger penises and are likely to engage in risk-taking behavior. And I actually didn't know that, but I looked it up because when they said testosterone makes higher dicks, I was like, is that true? That doesn't seem true. But what happens is testosterone during puberty.
Right.
And then if you have higher testosterone during puberty, you probably have higher testosterone later in life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So your testosterone during puberty gives you a bigger horn. So why doesn't it seem like the move
teeing up the kids?
Teeing up the fucking puberty teens. If your son, if you're like, yo, if you take these T pills, it's going to give you a bigger horn.
Yeah.
Dude, I read a book about bikers back in the day.
Yeah, like motorcycle or like bicycles?
Motorcycle bikers.
Yeah.
And what they used to do is when their sons turned 16, and this is like an autobiography about some biker. I remember this. It's always like such a weird thing. Mm-hmm. But they would tell the fucking kids they would tie like a lock, like a padlock to their dick and have it hang underneath. And they said that would eventually
they do that in like Asia and stuff too. That's like a big thing in Asia where they walk around with weights.
And apparently it does work a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, it is like a tissue and stuff. I guess you can stretch it out. I suppose.
Yeah, you can, and it works a little bit. So, but then if you could just be like, I'll give you some tea, and like if me and my friends were 16 and you're like, you found out that you tea, I'd be right into that clinic being like, I'm oh no, I wouldn't work for a guy.
Well, they would never. That's the thing. They would never. Like you have to be you'd have to have like.
But how is there not a black market for 16-year-old dudes trying to?
I mean, you can get testosterone. You can definitely I'm sure if you go to any gym, like there are for sure 16-year-olds who are just on test for steroids.
Teed up for steroids.
Yeah.
There was a couple guys in my high school that were fucking teed up.
Yeah, for sure. There are people who are just doing it for those purposes. No question.
Well, anyways, that's also why when the guys start to do the blockers and that stuff and they turn out to be trans and then they decide they're not trans, they all have fucking tiny kids' penises.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's get some tea going.
Weird study though, right?
Yeah, that is
okay. And then we talked about there was like the push where if they say people who work out more likely to be right wing or whatever. Uh-huh. Remember we did that?
Yeah.
There was kind of like a big one, and I did a video about it, and it was like a big thing a while ago where they were like working outs like right wing, right?
Yeah, working outs right wing, yeah.
And so this article, it's a woman who wrote the article, but she wrote in an article, getting fit is great, but it could turn you into a right-wing jerk. Getting fit makes you more right-wing. The mechanism is actually incredibly simple. You embark on this voyage of self-improvement, or more or less immediately see results. You feel stronger and more energetic. Probably your mood lifts, and pretty soon you're a master of your own destiny. Inescapably, you start to situate your other people's problems within their failures to be as fit as you. This is particularly true if you don't know them and they're just a bunch of numbers. All those statistics, depressed people, obese people, people with IBS, imagine how much better they would be if only they took responsibility for their health. And that's where it leads you, she's saying.
Sure, which I mean, I guess for
First of all, how is that not... Well, on an extreme...
Yeah.
But first of all, you're like, okay... They would be better off, by the way,
of course,
if they're fit. This is the ultimate of like...
They'd be able to get a fucking rich dude.
Say that again?
They'd be able to get a rich dude if they got a little hotter.
I'm listening. But more importantly, this is the ultimate guy being like, sitting there fat, be like, I can't work out because I'm going to get too jacked.
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, I don't want to become right wing.
Yeah,
it's like I'd hate for me to like improve my health in my life and then vote for Trump.
Just sitting there fucking eating a bag of chips, and your wife's like, maybe you could work out. You go, that's all sorry. Next thing, I'm yelling at people's faces that have IBS.
No, I prefer to own the Republicans right now. Honey, you can't talk. I'm owning the Republicans.
It's like so crazy. It was like the equivalent of like
what's called cope.
It's like, oh, I don't want to. You're like, oh, maybe you should take a guitar lesson. You're like, oh, is that what you want? Me touring around the world playing to stadiums full of people, and then I'm never home. Next thing you know, I'm doing heroin, and then I can't even fucking sleep, and then I die at 27 from heroin just because I started playing guitar. Yeah. It's like, yes, it's possible to go to the gym 3 times a week without turning into like Mr. Olympian running around yelling in everyone's faces.
Many jacked people who are liberals, like, yeah, maybe there is some where you go, oh, I have more control over my life than I thought.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's probably very few jacked people that are body positive because they're like, oh, they're born like this. And you go, they're not, though.
They're not, though. And I mean, dude, there's you see on social media, like, there's no shortage of people who are like, yeah, I used to be 400 pounds and I'm jacked.
Someone said a funny point where it's like when you see dogs, you'll be like, oh, that dog's like too fat, and everyone says that. But with humans, we're like, they can't help it.
Yeah, they can't help it.
But dogs, it's like, yes, we've been feeding it bad food.
Yeah, we feed them too much.
Yeah, but with humans, we go, they're actually eating the perfect amount, but it's something they can't help.
I mean, dude, there's so many of them. Like, I see like some 300-pound. It's only women too. It's funny, like on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's only women, and they'll be like, "Here's a day of my like eating or whatever," and they're just like putting back so much food. No guys.
They go from McDonald's to Arby's.
Dude, it's crazy. And they'll be like, yeah, for breakfast. And they're like, I drink a 2-liter Coke and all this shit.
Girls love following those people too.
I know. It is.
Do you know what they do, by the way?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about that fat community girls that like, post about how fat they are or whatever. What they do is they eat like 20 meals a day. And then they have no money because they eat so much food, and then they find feeders to send the money for food. That's like legitimately the system.
That is, if you look at
that's why they do their eating journeys, because feeders send the money.
Interesting, because actually, if you look at the comments, a lot of people are like, "How do you afford to just eat all this all day?"
And the comment underneath that's check Cash App.
Drop Venmo.
But it's so funny being like, I would work out, but next thing you know, I'll be fucking screaming at people who have IBS. That's why I can't go to the gym. I was like, maybe you could just do a walk. It's like, that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
Slippery slope.
Slippery slope.
But and on top of that, it's like just so circular, but you go, depressed people, obese people, you start thinking they'd be better off if they started working out. It's like,
yes, they would.
In what world would an obese person not be better off? This is the stuff where you go, you're making me argue nonsense.
Yeah,
they're getting me. I'm getting got.
Nonsense. I mean, again, they're just justifying.
I'm getting got here.
They're just justifying their own shit, and they need to justify their own.
It's a girl. It's not. I don't know if she's fat because I can only see her face in the photo. But it's like a girl that's like looks like like if you look up lib under the dictionary.
Yeah.
She's got like a
right. Yeah, I actually thought
grayish hair that she doesn't dye, just keeps the gray strands.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They always are.
She's the look.
Every one of these articles, they always just look exactly what you think they look like.
Why don't you start but you could probably learn how to do emails. Oh, next thing you know, I'm starting a computer company, and now I'm wasting all my money.
I'm fucking Michael Dell over here, huh? No, thank you.
So it starts. It's like the idea that you can't. What fucking craziness these people are living in. There's a fixed amount of excellence in any self. And the more you spend on your biceps, the less you have for personality. Wellness can turn you into a bit of a jerk, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, basically, that's the
crazy that
you want to go extremes. That's the guy sitting there with the potato chips, and you're just like, why don't you work out? You go, I'm too busy spending time on my personality. I can't. Fucking my personality is too good.
In what world is being self-actualized bad?
Hers.
It sure is. I guess you're like, okay.
Yeah, so I guess her message is better to be safe than sorry. It's not a guarantee that turns you into a jerk, but better to be safe than sorry.
Better be safe than sorry. Just be low T, tired all the time, sick. That's the way to do it. All right. Good for her.
Another little study for you. Aircraft noise exposure linked to higher obesity rates in women. And the reason for this, isn't that crazy? Actually, did you read this one?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to guess. Okay.
Oh, I only grazed over it actually. But
do you know the reason?
What are these scientists up to? The reason why airplane noise is linked to obesity, my guess would be that poorer people live near airports. because it's like less desirable place to live.
Fuck, I wonder if that's a point.
That's what I would think, is that it's like if you live near an airport, that's generally considered like worse.
I don't think so. If you
of
go
the
near
noise.
LGA, LaGuardia, that's
Maybe in New
way poorer
York,
areas
but
than
like
that.
for the most part, if you live like really, we're talking like really close to the airport.
Well,
it's
their
just like if you
reason
live
is
under
not
like
that.
beside a highway or something, and you're like, yeah, it's worse because it's loud and dirty. And
They actually have the answer, and it's not that.
Okay.
And they were able to actually test their hypothesis. So the reason for it is the noise. You can't sleep.
the noise,
And
you
people
can't-
who
it
don't
fucks up
sleep
your
are
hormone.
fatter.
Right.
So basically, the risk of obesity increased with louder noise. At 55 decibels or greater, they were 11% more likely to be fat. So the louder the airport and the closer they were, the more likely they were to be fat. And they've actually done that. So crazy to think, like, how was I not a blimp when I was at my old house on fucking 1st and 14th with just everyone yelling, screaming at all hours?
Yeah. Well, maybe because it's
Probably was fatter, if I'm being honest.
yeah, but also maybe it's just bullshit. But you never sleep well.
No, I don't. And it probably does fuck up my eating, man.
I mean, it's fucking up your hormones for sure. Like your hormones are hugely regulated by sleep, and then that'll definitely affect your health and whatnot. So
Interesting study, though, that when girls are like fat, it's just like, let me ask you a question.
yeah, but I mean,
No, you
explain
see
all the
Danny,
people in like Appalachia. Who,
You meet a girl at a bar and she's like 40 pounds overweight. You go, is it LaGuardia or JFK?
actually, you look more like Newark.
You're in Newark, eh? Real loud. Big jet propellers.
Yeah, that's. I'm curious how well that was how well that was tested, because you're like, there's lots of people who live like in rural like Appalachia who just fucking eat Twizzlers all day and they're 900 pounds.
Well, I don't know. It seems like the study kind of makes sense, and they seem pretty confident in their study based on their study, based on the article.
From the study influence, from the blog influence of study blogs.
I don't see why you're saying that you don't believe it, because it sort of makes sense.
Well, it's just like a correlation causation thing where I'm like, is that actually the reason?
Well, yes, because they looked at the ones that had then they had closer to it and the higher volume, and also it is a proven thing that bad sleep makes you fatter.
Yeah.
Because you eat worse, your body craves the things you like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million
that's for sure.
reasons.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Maybe there's a possibility, but this is the reason they've come up with, and I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple more things on this topic. So Miss Alabama,
Yeah.
big girl,
She's a big lass.
a really big girl,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where she's so big,
But it's like one. It's not like really Miss Alabama. It's like there's so many pageants. Like this was the thing that came out. So pageants are just like a straight up business.
I know.
Right? Do you know how much it costs to enter one of these pageants? I looked it up. $950. Okay. So it's like if you got a check for $950, you get to be in one of these pageants, right?
Yeah.
And this is just some like offshoot pageant or whatever, because they open, it's like a fucking comedy school or some shit where they're a business and they just need people. So she's not like the technically Miss Alabama that goes to like Miss Universe. She's like some weird Miss Alabama where their pageants were more about your personality.
Well, you sound like Snopes right now, because that's kind of what they're saying. But basically,
Well, it is. Yeah. Well, that's why I read it. And I went on their website.
Okay, listen, Danny. I think you need to take a step back and...
No, it's obviously nonsense, like that she's...
Well, I mean, listen. Imagine they had the biggest dick competition, the guy with the tiny dick. You're like... And then you go, no, we also include the thing. It's like, okay, but you are...
But listen to the corollary.
They're a
to that.
pageant.
Yes, they're a pageant, but imagine they had the biggest dick competition and a little dick guy wins, and then a lot of little dick people see that and they go, oh shit, I want to be biggest dick guy. I just need $950 to sign up, and then I too can be the biggest dick.
You think that's the reason for it? This is
they're like we're gonna get all these fucking giants coming in. We're gonna open up the market. Like it's like the
No, it's a publicity thing. It's like a progressive thing, but. You sort of think
I'm just saying
you think it's some dudes behind closed doors being like, listen,
how do we get more people signing up? And you go, hey, what if we open it up to 60% of the Alabama population who otherwise would think me, a beauty queen, impossible? And we go, no, you too.
See, this is too conspiratorial, because you're saying they when it's like judges that pick this. You think the judges were given top down instruction, like,
Well, it's
listen,
just
go as
owned by-
gross as you can.
Maybe. I don't know. It's owned by a business. Well, maybe you put the type of judges in who will give you the outcomes, Because at the end of the day, this is just a business. This is like, we think of it
They have
as
a trans woman that won the Maryland one, Miss Maryland USA.
Okay.
Another one.
I'm for that.
And she's also they changed the ages because you could only be 28, and now this one's just basically is like a 31-year-old dude that trans a chick and then won the thing. But Snopes basically did what you did, where it's like, which is funny because Snopes is like, they started out as a fact checker, but like the only thing they fact check is like, actually, Donald Trump's hair looked bad.
He is.
There was a comment on Twitter that's
yeah, we went to a paint store and he actually is orange. So
yeah, the only thing that like Snopes corrects is like someone on Twitter said that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Dylan Mulvaney's annoying. We've looked into it, and she's actually not annoying at all. So this is what they're saying. They're like, actually, Snopes was like, she's actually pretty hot, and
I'm
also she's the most confident.
Not to totally agree with Snopes. I'm just saying follow the money here.
Okay.
Follow the money.
Follow the fucking money on that.
Follow the money.
Well, that I agree with. I think all the like companies doing progressive shit is always, there's always like a money motive behind it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's crazy to say that there's like, somewhere they're like, they're not saying, I don't think anyone's saying like, let's just crash the company. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's your thing where they're like, oh, we're going to get more people enrrolling.
Yeah. Because that used to be like being in a beauty pageant.
I think they think maybe we're going to get some publicity for it.
Niche elite thing. Like it used to be even 10 years ago, some girl who's like fairly attractive and she's like, well, I'm hot, but I'm not like beauty queen hot. Like it was probably like for the pie of overall people. There was like,
well, there's definitely pie here.
And I mean, that was actually where she excelled, was the pie eating competition.
And you know what? The reason I don't even like having to make fun of it, it does feel to me like rude to her, because when you pick her as the thing, it's going to be a press story, and then every comment is going to be like, what the fuck is this?
And it's like the WNBA where you're making people care about a thing that they literally do not give a shit about.
Yes, this would be like if they put a fucking like a fat 5-foot guy on the Lakers, and then he was like, they were losing every game because of him, and everyone was like, fuck you,
he's
this
like
piece
huffing
of shit.
And puffing, like, and everybody's down the court,
and then they keep posting photos of like our MVP today, and everyone's like, fuck this guy, right? That's what they do. It's like they pick a girl that's obviously not particularly attractive, they put her on the front of the thing, and then everyone in the comment sections is like, gross, and you're like, you guys, I don't like what you're doing up here.
No.
You're forcing her to be like the poster person for hot when she's not hot.
Should we pop on wigs and try and apply for the New York equivalent of this? Miss New York? That should maybe be like Bugman versus Bugman 10K.
Competing.
Me and you are competing at Miss New York.
And finally, a woman was found dead in the mountains, victim of a fatal bear attack. There you have it, folks.
And there it is, the consequences of your actions.
But funny, this girl could have never said any of that stuff. So a lot of people.
Yeah, this chick probably had no idea about the bear discourse, and she just got mauled by a bear. It
was like
some old lady who got mauled by a bear.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
A cabin or something.
She's definitely getting the brunt of this.
Yeah.
Bad time for a chick to get mauled by a bear for sure.
She's getting to heaven, and she goes, "I got mauled by a bear," and people go, "That is hilarious."
Yes. Also, by the way, I did a video because Australia is the Minister of Men's Behavior Change, and I'm coming to Australia. For those of you who haven't bought tickets yet, some of them already sold out, and we had another one. But the crazy part is that there was a couple people that sent big messages being like, it's actually fair, and people are pointing out that the reason they have this is they're saying there's an uptick in domestic violence.
Yeah, it's just about domestic violence.
Okay, first of all, I have 2 points, but the main point was no matter what it's about, they're not fucking children. Mm-hmm. So you would never do a minister of women's behavior change. You wouldn't do a minister of a different race behavior change. Like, no, this is the only acceptable group that you could do such a condescending term towards them and think you can get away with it. It's like, no shit, people don't like it. They're not fucking children.
Your
behavior changes. Like, most people don't beat their wife also.
Yeah, and nobody's pro beating their wife. Like, there's not like some whole contingent of people who are like, you go, yeah. Like, it's not like they're like, yeah, people are not only people beating their wife, but there's all these people who are like in favor of it.
Exactly.
You go, nobody's in favor of it.
Nobody's in favor of it. And then on top of that, they're saying it's like because these like these
even the people who are beating their wives, like they wish they didn't have to.
It sounds like what you.
They absolutely wish that they didn't have to do this, Ryan. But she gives them no choice.
Danny, I already told her twice. Polishuk here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there's just that thing where you're just like, and there's like a killer thing where there's like some guys were like killing women. It's like, imagine like after Jack the Ripper, they're like, we need to change men's behavior.
Right.
It's like,
we have
not-
murder laws and public executions.
yeah, you already have. Why don't you just enforce the laws?
Sure.
It's already illegal.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, why don't you just start enforcing
I mean,
actual
you could also
laws?
like make the penalties harsher. Generally, that's what
Have your
normal
DAs
society-
actually prosecute anything.
Or just make the penalties harsher. Like, just be like, hey, we're going to increase the penalties for these crimes until you reach some sort of equilibrium where you go, hey, like, or whatever acceptable thing where you go, hey, we just keep increasing the penalties and then eventually, dissuade this type
Or
of thing.
have a minister of domestic violence, but like the minister of men's behavior change, like that's the most like condescending fucking shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, people are making a joke of it. It's like, no shit. And especially since they've literally, even in the thing, it's like lesbians do have the highest rates of domestic violence. That's
Yep.
just a fact.
It's a fact.
So it's like, okay, so then why would you know? It's just like anyone who's kind of like trying to bend over backwards to defend this is like, no, it's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. It's not going to do anything. That's the main thing is it's not doing anything. It's not like some
On top
guy
of
who beats his
everything.
wife being like, oh, now that they open this men's behavior change, I should get my
Well, the
act
only
together.
people that listen to that stuff are fucking. Actually, I take that point back because there is like probably. Like, I actually do know there's definitely a few people that I've heard of that are just like the hyper progressive guy that they're like the most controlling fucking abusive guy. in
I don't
person.
think there's. I
'Cause
don't
it's
think,
like
I
a
don't think
narcissistic
there's-
kind of personality.
Yeah. Like I don't think there's like a political affiliation. Like
I think being like aggressively male feminist is like a trait that's attractive to sociopaths sometimes. you know what I mean?
for sure. But
So there is a bit of that, but then there's also the old fashioned fucking meat and potatoes, like working class drunk.
working
Yeah,
class drunk.
I think there's probably both.
My dad beat his wife, and his dad beat his wife, and I ain't gonna break that chain.
I think it's such a different cultural thing too, because it's like the idea of like me or any of my friends like beating a girl is just like so
it's-
removed from. And also, it is kind of a weird thing where it's like you sort of just trained, you know that you sort of have to be more careful. Where it's like a girl could come and like trash your whole house, punch you in the face, like smash all your stuff, and it would be like nothing. Probably be like, "I was a crazy bitch." Whereas like if you pushed your girl once, that could be the end of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like the idea of like a dude. I can't even think of anyone I know that would ever. I don't know. I mean, none of my friends have ever been like accused of that or anything either. But it's like,
no.
I guess it's some communities there's like pervasive in. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, it's usually people who like it's generally tied to alcohol use a lot of times because it just
I know,
makes people
yeah.
more aggressive and violent.
Just seems like not on the table though, you know?
no. I mean, again, I don't hang out.
Same way I
with,
wouldn't stab
I don't
someone,
Hang out
it's
with
just like-
crazy drunks who are like in these miserable marriages and stuff.
I do hang out with some crazy drunks. I don't think any of them are beating their wife.
Yeah, maybe.
I know some definitely know some crazy drunks.
Yeah, that's true. I do know some crazy drunks. I don't know. Yeah.
It seems so far removed.
And again,
from
you know what? A lot of the
possibility.
stuff you like, a lot of times you wouldn't know. But I definitely don't know anybody who like I hang out with who the like you hang out with and their wife's got a shiner.
Never seen that ever.
No, I've never seen that where it's like wife's got a shiner.
Seen a guy with a shiner.
Yeah. It's because he fell down.
Anyways, the bad policy. It's not even going to help.
No.
Okay. Patreon.com/the Boyscast. I actually have a fucking ton of stuff to talk about right now. We
Bugman,
didn't even
10K.
get
We're
close.
doing
Bugman 10K. Me and
Miss
Daniel
New
Ender,
York.
Miss New York. Appreciate everyone who has subscribed over at the Patreon. Appreciate everyone sending me different articles and funny things and questions to talk about too. So, all right, see you guys on the other side. Peace.